I don't intend to laugh, but I need to. It's interesting. It's an interesting conundrum here because you are saying that for us to be able to encourage and get people to export things or merchandise and co, there is need for the value to be devalued. That sounds good. Logically, economically sounds good. But the last time I checked, all the economists can't even seem to find their way out of this conundrum we find ourselves right now. Because their computation, their projection, and their analysis and co, they are not working. This is my point. As long as that economic policy does not affect the life of the common man when it comes to household goods, then we are in trouble. Because what you have on the street, the restlessness, the crime rates, and this depression and all of these things happening is as a result of common man, as it were, not able to eke out a living, not able to fend for themselves. So any smart governments or policy makers have to be determined in ensuring that whatever policies that they come up with has to positively affect the common man. But the positive side of that is truly with the way currency is going right now, anybody who can be in a position to export would definitely be in a vantage position. So we are not just looking at the Nigerian economy, how you can survive within this sphere, but how about you developing skill or going for information and knowledge, asking yourself, what can I do right now from where I am to put me in
to find. But how can you really manage the 24 hours that we have in a day and still try to, get a side hustle? Or maybe put differently, how can you manage your first job and a second job without having either of them suffer?
Awesome. Now, if I were to flip this camera, you realize that I'm actually working from the house right now. We did nights. Okay. You see, time is the most valuable resource we both have. Both the janitor and the CEO in the Fortune 500 have one thing, one equilibrium. I love to call it equilibrium. Is a unifier. Time. What you do and how you manage your time will determine where you'll be in the nearest, let's say 5 years from now, invariably.
All right, Mark, do we still have you there? It is really very. Okay, go ahead.
You keep complaining that you don't have time. How many hours in the day are you sleeping? Because.
All right, we seem to be having a connection issue there. Or it's a Mark. Mark, can you hear us? Yeah, but just before we lost Mark there, we've been talking about how you can actually, manage your time, be very efficient about it, because some people might even expect us to have like 36 hours in the day just to do all they need to do at the time. But you have to be a very effective or efficient time manager if you really want to plan your finances, your resources, and of course, all of the other side hustles or second jobs that you might have in mind. Do we still have Mark there? All right, Mark, go ahead. We lost you at some point. Yeah, continue, please.
Okay, good. So it all comes to this. How are you able to manage your time? For you to be successful, you have to be a good manager of your time. We all have 24 hours in the day. Like I hinted earlier, I'm working from the house right now. I don't have to get to the road, drive from one end of the street or from one place to the other. If I can do what I can do now, look at what technology have afforded us. On a way back, I will have to be in your office, in your studio right now for us to have this conversation. But you are on one end and I'm on the other side, and we are having this conversation and we are having the best of our time. Why? Because we are maximizing the moment and the opportunity that technology throws at us. So if you don't have time, if I was a 9 to 5, what I would is to set up time. When did I get to the house from work? See, all the many things. I don't watch TV. I don't have no business with TV and all the frivolous things that do. Anything that will not translate and have a positive impact in my bottom line and develop me and position me to be more efficient, I have no business with that. Most people that now what they devote a large chunk of their time to, aside the work. Your life is not all about the work. What do you do with the other extra time that you have?
Okay.
That is what is important.
All right, okay, Mark, let's leave side hustles for one moment and let's see if we can bring leadership into all of this, because you will agree with me that some of the issues that we have in the country is related to the choices of leadership and some of the policies that we have. And I know on Friday you are celebrating excellence in leadership. Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, we've been on this for the past 7 years, and yours sincerely is the convener of Future Leadership Conference and Award, because leadership is critical. Africa is, over the years, have been defined as a dark continent. To me, that's a wrong way to describe a continent that is so full of potential and have a lot going on. This year, for instance, we are having the 8th edition on the 24th of this month, and the theme is very, very critical. The Renaissance, repositioning Africa for global relevance. And here we're going to be having a robust conversation on the Africa continent, the leadership of Africa, because we can no longer leave politics to politicians. We no longer need more politicians in leadership. Instead, we need more leadership in politics. Now, if you get that, the problem with Africa will be solved, because we are tired of having this situation where we have people coming to leadership, they clamor to be in leadership. We vote for them, they campaign, and they will tell you they would rather die if they don't get into politics. Then you give them the opportunities only for things. It's almost as if things get worse when they come into power. So what exactly is the reason for that? The reason for that is the lack of transformational leadership. And may I tell you this, it will take transform people to transform the society. The transformation that we seek in the nation, in the continent, in the office, in whichever demography, in whichever place, has to come from people, has to be people inspired, because the highest form of leadership is inspiration. Being able to inspire people to be the best version of themselves, being able to bring up changes, and this change comes from people. It doesn't come from machine. It's not from AI. AI doesn't regulate the systems and bring policy, come up with policies that can help to run the administration and the governance. No, it's going to take people. It's going to take ideology. It's going to take philosophy. So this is why we are having this conversation on the 24th, and we have people coming in from different places, different the continent in Africa. We have Dr. Sami, who will be flying in from Malawi.
All right.
We have
all right, so if we have to start going into details, that will be actually doing a proper market. But then we look forward to, seeing a more improved leadership in not just Nigeria, but in Africa. And of course, on Trust Plus TV will be there to cover and make sure that this talk of qualitative and exceptional leadership can actually be imbibed in society in Nigeria. Mark Idaho is a leadership coach and consultant, convener Future Leadership Conference and Award, which holds by the weekend. Many thanks for being a part of the show for this morning. And as we go on the show, we must say a very big thank you to all of our viewers who have sat back to watch, and we do appreciate you. My name is Justin Akadonye. Business Insight returns to your screen same time next time. Bye for now.
Being online has become a part of our every waking moment. From the moment we wake up in the morning till we hit the pillow at night, we are browsing, scrolling through social media, responding to messages. We live our lives online almost as much as we live it in reality. These anonymous interactions, like any other human interaction, comes with complexity and challenges. People get into civil discussions, debates, banter, and share with one another. With these interactions come disagreements, arguments, conflicts that can soon degenerate into trolling, bullying, and general unpleasantness. The discretion we employ in face-to-face interaction is further decreased online. In fact, according to psychologist Robert Sutton, disrespectful, demeaning, and downright mean-spirited behavior is worse than ever. This behavior is especially true of online discourse, which researchers describe as the online disinhibition effect. Stanford psychology professor John Sula in 2004 said, "The online disinhibition effect can cause people to act out in either a benign manner, wherein they overshare their personal information, or in a toxic manner, wherein they become abusive or threatening." "I am in my house, come and beat me" is a common saying online that alludes to the inaccessibility that emboldens even regular people to behave in less than civil ways online. Another factor responsible for this behavior, apart from anonymity and availability, is solipsistic introduction, a situation, according to Dr. Sula, where you don't have any physical cues associated with the person you're communicating with, and other person becomes just a voice in your head. As such, the people in your online conversations merely become characters in your imagination, formed by your own personal history and expectations. You might also hear his or her voice as your own, which makes you feel more comfortable with the other person and further lowers your inhibitions. As we have rules that guide our interactions in real life, unspoken rules need to be developed for our online interactions. Social media etiquette, or social mannerism simply put, means do's and don'ts for social media interactions. These etiquettes are also referred to as netiquettes. The term netiquette refers to all aspects of online communication, including email, instant messaging, social media, multiplayer gaming, and other forms of online communication. The main goal behind netiquette or mannerisms on social media is to treat others with respect and take care of intellectual property rights and associated implications. Personal information, images, or videos of anyone should not be shared without consent or mentioning credits where due. Except we seek to change such behaviors, it will pervade. Here are some social media netiquettes. When sending a DM, be polite and go straight to the point. When responding to posts, even if you disagree, be careful not to use condescending and insultive words. Take a 5-minute pause before you post any comments. Don't comment on topics that people tend to be passionate about. Don't respond to insults or hateful language. Don't say to people online what you won't have the audacity to say to them in person. Avoid excessive tagging of people. Ask before tagging people, or post only flattering pictures of other people. Apply the billboard test. Assume that everyone in the world can and will see everything you post. So if it's not billboard worthy, don't post it. Give credit where it's due. Don't post other people's photos or quotes without clear attribution. This means no screen grabs even if you have the best intentions. Instead, use a repost app to properly credit others for your own content. Think of the future you. Your taste will change, as will your sense of humor, but your photos will live on forever. Use caution when posting. Don't take screenshots of other people's private moments that they shared with you in confidence. Censor yourself. You might treat your Facebook or Twitter accounts as diaries. Don't share everything with your readers. Some things are meant to be kept private.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Na 500 naira they collect am.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Na 2,500 they pay.
Governor Amadou Umaru Finturi meets security chiefs, sues for peace, and intervene in Akeredolu Ayedatiwa's crisis. Pa Fasonoti tells President Bola Tinubu, I am Bola Oba, and this is Plus Politics. Governor Amadou Umaru Finturi of Adamawa State called for an emergency security meeting over Tuesday's night clash between the military and the police officers in the state. The conflict between the security personnel. Governor Finturi said an investigation into the matter was ongoing with a view to ensuring peace and justice. He said the meeting has resolved the conflict and that the security chiefs are vowed to work in synergy for the best interest of Adamawa and Nigeria. Governor Finturi confirmed that both the military and the police lost one officer each during the night clash, calling for restraint to avoid reoccurrence. The meeting had in attendance Deputy Governor Professor Kaletapwa Farauta, the Brigade Commander, 23rd Armored Brigade, Yola, and Adamawa State Commissioner of Police, and other senior government officials. Take a listen.
All of us are working for the country. All of us are working for the people and the state. And they are friends. These are senior officers. These are men that have attended strategic command courses in their various regiment. And you can see they are both, we both all shared these discussions together, and they've even given us more helpful information. The men of the Nigerian Armed Forces and the police were just coming out of the State High Command strategic security meeting. And all the issues involving the two security command had been discussed extensively, and all of them have been resolved in the spirit of our country, of our state, and our people, and ensuring that our general concern should be the peace and security of the state.
Joining us to look at these issues is the lawyer Biram Atsacha Yerima, based in Yola, Adamawa State, is also a journalist, and also a journalist, Padio Finis, also from Adamawa State. Gentlemen, welcome to Plus Politics.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
How would you want to summarize the unfortunate incident that has happened in Yola, which has taken the lives of two service officers?
Well, good evening once again. It is highly condemnable because the two officers, gallant officers that lost their lives in this unfortunate incident that happened, the incident would have been averted, because I think there was no understanding between the two sister agencies. And I think they, as law enforcement agencies, ought to show an utmost and high level of maturity and tolerance in the performance of their duty. So I think they need, both the police and the military need a thorough reform of their officers, because if things like this will happen between the two law enforcement agencies who are charged with the protection of life and property of the citizen and the nation at large, I don't see where we, the citizens, will be free to or will be secure. And such incident happen in an environment where there are houses, where people were going on with their normal activities. So I think it is highly unfortunate and condemnable. Just as the executive governor of Adamawa said, the military and the police have lodged an investigation into the matter, and we want to be sure that yes, such things will not occur, because there are a lot of incidents like this that happened in the past, talking about Lagos, talking about state like Taraba some years back. So I don't see any reason where the military and the police will be fighting or be having even an exchange of words, because they need to respect each other. They need to conduct their duties cordially and in accordance with the law. So, and I think this age-long ill feeling of disaffection and rancor, sometimes from my own point, maybe as a result of, a fight for supremacy. I am ahead, I am this and that. But they should all know that they are protecting the lives and properties of Nigerian citizens. They should put Nigeria first than their own personal feelings. So I really condemn this unfortunate incident. The officers that lost their lives, they have family who are looking up to them. So where are they now? It's highly unfortunate, and may their soul rest in peace.
What has been the general mood? What has been the general mood of the people locally?
So the morning after the incident occurred, I was on my way to the office. Actually, I first heard about it from the taximan which I took to the office. He said in Hausa that these people couldn't allow them to sleep, that there were fears all over, gunshots everywhere. And the current situation in our country right now, just in the night, for you to wake up and see and start hearing gunshots, definitely you won't be able to sleep. So the states, actually, people were really scared at that night. And when the incident actually cleared off, people have engaged in their activities, and the executive governor have assured everyone of safety, that everyone should go on with his daily activities. So right now, the mood in Adamawa State is really normal.
It's like for those of you who live in the middle and upper class area or areas of the state capital, you were not particularly disturbed. But it seemed that for the taximan, for the cab driver to be intimating you with the incident the following morning, the event happened maybe in the lower class area of Yola. Is that right?
No, actually, the incidents occurred at somewhere they said Target Junction, which is in the middle of the state's capital. And then from the news I got that the police now went for a retaliation, the military, went for a retaliation at the police headquarters, which is just few kilometers away from even the government house. So the police headquarters is in the heart of the state capital. So
I was just wondering why you never had the gunshots. You never had a disturbed slumber that it took the taximan the following morning to brief you about what had happened.
Yes, sir. The distance from where I stay at Yola town is a bit far from where the incident occurred. The Adamawa State capital is a very big state capital. So the people that reside within the environs of the state capital where the police headquarters is located, and the police the police headquarters and also the police barracks.
But what's the mood now?
Where the ones-
What's the mood now? Are the reassurances of the governor and the leaders of the security agencies and the deputy governors, are those reassurances really making people to be comfortable and going about their businesses as usual?
Yes, you know, Adamawa State, Yola in particular, it's a place where we enjoy peace. Adamawa State is a land of peace where you hardly hear such things happening. You hardly hear gunshots. So because of what happened, of course, people are startled, but we are really sure and we have faith in the state government and we have faith in the service chiefs that they will look into this matter and such will not occur. And we have faith. You know, when you have faith in the government, when you have faith in the institution laid down, I don't see any reason for you to be scared again, because it's a tussle between the two sister agencies. It's not a fight between a bandit group, which the police or the army. It's something that can be resolved amicably, and we are sure that it will be resolved. So everybody everyone in Adamawa right now is enjoying the peace we've had before, and we are ready. We are rest assured with the message from the executive governor, His Excellency Ahmadu Fintiri, that Adamawa State, being a land of peace, will continue to enjoy that peace. And we have faith in the service chiefs and as well as the police that they are going to resolve this issue amicably, tolerate one another. So we don't want to hear this. We don't want to pray for such to happen again. It is really unfortunate and condemnable.
To be honest with you, that is the prayer of everybody who at least.
Of course.
Everybody, but we still are now normal, and maybe some who may have been scared by either witnessing it or the reportage should now know that normalcy has
have done their best in enlightening the people, the masses, because I saw it on the news. The media houses and the radio houses, the TV and the radio houses have enlightened the masses in the states about to continue with their normal activities, and they even passed the message of the state governor and for peace to continue to reign in Adamawa, that everyone should go back to his normal activity, that such has been resolved, and both the army and the police have launched an investigation into the matter. So I don't see any reason where
I just hope that they will do beyond they'll go beyond the so-called inquiry and get to talk to their rank and file, because most times these things usually get ignited by the egotistic disposition of the rank and file.
Exactly, because sometimes such incidents, normally if you see the incidents that occur prior to this in some states like Lagos, Abuja, some they got ignited as a result of maybe the police in their line of duty at checkpoints block the roads. They are like the incident that happened in April 3rd in 2022 in Lagos, where the policemen blocked the road. It was a checkpoint, and the military were going. They were passing by. So in the virtue of that, the military had to stop to ease, to make way for easy movement of their convoy. So maybe one way or the other, led to an argument, and then that the police shot the military man, and from there the military retaliated, and life were lost, and such really should be condemned.
Barrister Asacha,
yes, sir.
You see, the most disturbing part of this for somebody like me is that these inquiries, we never get to see these inquiries resolve some very fundamental issues. Who in particular was lacking good judgment enough to trigger it, who festered it, because we once had an incident, I think about a decade or so ago in Lagos, that some military personnel who were involved in gin smuggling from Benin Republic went to Benin, were coming into Lagos, and were stopped by policemen on duty on their bike. They refused to stop. They were actually in mufti, not in uniform, and because the policemen presumed that they were conventional smugglers, shot at one of them, and the following day they mobilized, went to the local police station, killed a DCO, killed a number of policemen. I think it's about time. The authorities, both military and indeed the civilian leadership of the country, I think it's about time we made them realize that we are now in a democracy. And, it's not only a democracy, but a democracy that thrives on the rule of law. What do you think about that?
Okay. I think the government, actually, and not only the government, the law enforcement agencies ought to discipline their officers when such thing happen. Because I think when you see such happening, there is always two sides of it. The military will want to tell their own story to support their officers, while the police at one end will want to say a different thing to support their own officers. Nobody wants to put the blame on himself to say, hey, such occurred because I started this and I started that. And we don't even want to know who started the issue. Definitely, because on the line of duty, a high sense of maturity, a high sense of what we call responsibility to conduct your duty the best of, in a high sense of strictness. The military, let's talk about the military right now. Sometimes they may pass a checkpoint, a police checkpoint, wearing mufti. What are they expected to do, supposed to do? Identify yourself. Definitely, the police are in the line of duty. You're supposed to identify yourself. So I'm this and this person. And that unity between the officers and the law enforcement agency, I don't see any reason where the police will want to harass a military man passing by. Definitely no. And also, the police, where a military, where, okay, he's your brother, you're both law enforcement agencies. Why not take it down without raising your voice? Sometimes it may have been provoked by way of, maybe this person, they will say, this person insulted me or this. And I am a military man, why would a police officer insult me? So what I want right now is the service chiefs actually to look into this and make sure they deal with this in the line of what we call the rule of law. They should court-martial whoever.
Barrister,
Yes,
we
sir.
really have to wrap it up at this juncture. Thank you very much.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Who has the right of way? Nigerian roads come with a lot of chaos. The chaos is caused by a combination of drivers, motorcycle and tricycle riders, pedestrians, and sellers who all claim the right of way. The chain of right of way holders in Nigeria is hierarchical, and car and motor drivers are at the top of the chain with pedestrians at the bottom. Car or motor drivers believe that they always have the right of way regardless, and motorcycle and tricycle riders don't even have any regard for who has the right of way. For fear of accidents and their lives, pedestrians have learned to cower. When a collision occurs, the question of who has the right of way is on the lip of all concerned as they try to figure out who is guilty. The law doesn't grant anyone the right of way, but you yield it to other road users under these circumstances.
Following the political crisis rocking Ondo State over the continued feud between Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu and his deputy, Lucky Ayinoti, who led other elder statesmen under the aegis of Ondo State elders and leaders, disclosed that the political crisis, particularly the absence of the governor, has been affecting governance in the state. A communique signed by the Afenifere leader and the group's secretary, Bakita Bello, after an emergency meeting in Akure, the state capital, asserted that some people have hijacked the governance of the state. The elders also maintained that if the development is not quickly addressed, it will no doubt affect the preparation of the 2024 budget, while decrying the absence of the state in crucial national events due to the crisis. The elder statesman said there is no clear direction within the state's civil service. Joining us to look at the ongoing feud between Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu and his deputy is a human rights lawyer and political analyst, Allen Sowore Esquire. Allen, good to have you on Plus Politics.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Would you want to give us a summary of what is happening in Ondo's gubernatorial suite?
Thank you very much. Yeah, the summary is that since April 3rd, 2023, the governor has been away because of ailment that is protracted, and nobody wish him that, but as human, sometimes we are indisposed. And as a result of his status, his status, so
I think hello.
Who you probably will call a kitchen member. I call them members of the cabal. They have taken over the states. They have hijacked. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but sometimes you fade off, and you know, and you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Let's try for a while.
Oh, okay. I was saying that members, as they have hijacked the situation, we don't know the whereabouts of Mr. Governor, and they are exploiting the state. They are using this period to take our resources, the state resources, uncontrolled, and they have denied the process of transmission of power from the governor to the deputy governor in these circumstances. And everything in Ondo State stands still, from local government administration to the state judiciary and the executive. You can know. The governor is not available. His deputy is fighting hard to save himself from impeachment. The Speaker of the House of Assembly is nowhere to be found. So, in Ondo State, the situation is paralysis. There's complete paralysis of governance in Ondo State. It's sad. That is why we have to appreciate and thank the elders who have come together at this crucial time in national life to intervene, or in our state life to intervene. That Mr. President should please come to our rescue.
As president of NBA, whilst President Umar Yar'Adua was sick, I remember the then senior advocate of Nigeria, Akeredolu, advising Yar'Adua to speedily get well from where he was taken to for treatment, come back home and come and resign, because according to Akeredolu then, he was not supposed to use his sickness, unfortunately as it was, to be holding Nigeria down to a state of paralysis. Isn't it ironic that now the same Akeredolu is sick, and for months on end now, he's left his state not only in a state of paralysis, but he could easily, with a kind of either polite or hidden remonstrance, have stopped the members of the State House of Assembly who are now going gongo, literally chasing, kind of hounding the deputy governor with this impeachment saga. What would be your response to all this?
My response is that as much as we can blame the governor. We must as well equally understand the situation. Perhaps he's no longer in a position to take charge of himself. So more, I want to blame the NBA because Agredolu then was using the NBA, that is the apex body of the Nigeria bar, that is apex body that comprises all the lawyers in Nigeria, as the chairman then. So the question is, what is the position of the present chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association? What is he saying? Why are they not speaking? Well, where are the lawyers?
But a couple of, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we saw pictures of the governors of Southwest states obnobbing with him in his house, reportedly in his house in Ibadan, and it wasn't looking like somebody who was in comatose. He knew he was sick. He knew he couldn't give the best to the state. And one would have thought that just like he counseled Umar Musa Yar'Adua to do for the love of the state, you know, he could have also heed his own counsel.
Yes, we saw the pictures, but from report we have, his situation has changed ever since the governor left. So that's why I'm saying that we may have to start to blame the people around him because the situation is very, very dicey to intervene because we don't know the current status of the governor. And after this time, continue to blame him. We have to be blaming those who are taking his hostage, those who are collecting ransom. They are collecting ransom from Ondo State. So those who are responsible for his whereabouts, it is time we should beam our searchlight on them to ask, where is he gone?
And in the absence of the legislature, that is the State House of Assembly, triggering the constitutional provision that ought to have been triggered in circumstances like this, and also given the fact that the State House of Assembly is now the stormy petrol fostering the dysfunctionalism of governance by chasing who the Constitution ordinarily recognizes as the person who should be deputizing for the governor in his absence. They are chasing him around now with a threat of impeachment. So what can be done now? You are a lawyer. What can somebody like you, who is an indigene of the state or a resident of the state, what can somebody do in the absence of the failure of institutions and public officers?
Yeah, as of yesterday, I am one of the lawyers representing some public spirited individuals and civil society who has taken up this matter on themselves by filing a process at the State High Court in Akure and requesting the State High Court to interpret this various session that like you have mentioned, vis-a-vis section 189 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. We stipulate that in this situation, a panel should be set up to examine the health status of the governor to see whether he can continue in office, which is the responsibility of the Speaker. The process is equally exploiting the provisions of Section 190 sub 2, which stipulated that the House of Assembly, after 21 days of the governor traveling or being unavailable or unable to perform his duty, should, through a resolution, simple majority resolution, pass to transmit power to his deputy. So the process is there. It was filed yesterday, and I'm very sure, I have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary, that by the time they exploit the prayers in that court process, we will come out from this logjam.
I'm thinking the Ondo State elders and leaders plea to the President of the Republic. I'm thinking, is that plea not somewhat superfluous? And why am I saying that? The governor is nowhere to be found. Nobody knows his whereabouts. Reportedly, as you've just told us, I thought before commencing this program that they rationalized that he was more emotionally and circumstantially comfortable in Ibadan, and that he's in Nigeria, but in Ibadan. And we saw pictures of his colleague governors from the southwest. But in the face of what you have just intimated us with now, that his whereabouts, is not known, what are they pleading to the president to do? To intervene by calling the members of the State House of Assembly who are the ones frustrating the deputy governor from performing his constitutional duties in the absence of his principal, or what? Because they really have to be specific about the case here is being messy, and it's getting messier by the day.
Thank you very much. The president is the leader of our nation. You must equally know the fact that he is of the same party with Akeredolu. So the president is the chief, is commander-in-chief of the armed forces. As much as we are saying that we don't know his whereabouts, security reports on the death of the Mr. President will definitely show where Governor Akeredolu is, and the president will, of course, know his status. If you remember, during Yadua, it was Obasanjo who went to Yadua's Monda and advised her that he should tell his son to resign. So, Mr. President is the leader of the country, is the leader of APC, so he could exploit political solution by calling members of the State Assembly, who are equally, majority of them are members of APC, and they tell them to go and stop the shenanigans. He can as well appeal to the Speaker personally, as his son, to go and carry out his sacred duty. So it is not out of place.
Without wanting to gainsay, without wanting to contradict the logic in your submission, we must also let our viewers know that the All Progressives Congress have, at some point, the leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, sent in a chieftain of the party, former governor of Katsina State, and former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Masari, to intervene in the imbroglio between the House of Assembly and the Deputy Governor. And for a while we thought that was going to be just settle the dust, but it does seem that the members of the House of Assembly are somewhat resolute in their determination to make the state ungovernable. I don't know how you want to respond to that.
Yes, that is why the calling on the president is very, very relevant. When the members of the ESCO, National Executive of APC, put in place a committee, was there no report submitted to the president, who is the leader of the party? If there is a report, the calling of the president now would be to act on that report. Then number two, which is equally important, the National Assembly, by virtue of Section 11 of the Constitution, can take over the function of the State House of Assembly this period. I performed that duty.
As a lawyer, you know that the technicalities involved in activating that provision is still somewhat organically nebulous. It is not easy for the House of Representatives of the National Assembly to just take over because ordinarily the State House of Assembly will be claiming that they are not in crisis and they are still functional. I wonder if my thinking is a bit too distant from yours. How would you want to respond to that?
Yes, the Constitution provision does not mention crisis. What the Constitution mentions is that whenever the State House of Assembly fail or unable or refuse to carry out their duties, the National Assembly can please take over. That is what the Constitution is saying. And progress of the nation and of such state is not necessarily when the country is in crisis. And if you want to define crisis, even in our situation in Ondo State, we already have a full crisis. At the local government level, like I told you earlier, that has collapsed.
Barrister Allen Sowore Esquire, we want to thank you for your contribution and your enlightenment. We wish all of you in Ondo State all the best. We pray that this Rofo fight, I was going to use the word furore, but Rofo kept coming on my tongue, would get resolved early enough for the good governance of the people of Ondo State. You can have millions of people just being at the mercy of... Thank you very much. We do appreciate you. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Today's throwback.
Thank you for having me.
Today's throwback. The 1949 Enugu Coal Riot. The Enugu Coal Riot of 1949 ignited like a fire, like a fiery storm, fueled by the searing injustice and oppression endured by the mainly Igbo local coal miners of Enugu. This pivotal moment in history was not merely an act of civil disorderliness or riot. It was a resounding cry for freedom, justice. And in 1999, a labor union dispute was raised by the Nigeria African Mine Workers Union at the British-owned Enugu Colliery, which had coal mines in places such as Obweti, Udi, and Iva Valley, over unfair dismissals, wages, and poor working conditions. The spirit of resistance burned fiercely within the hearts of the coal miners, erupting into courageous uprising that shook the foundations of colonial rule. The miners, emboldened by a collective yearning for dignity and justice, took to the streets, their demands reverberating through the air like thunderclaps in the midst of a tempest. Their voices, once subdued by the weight of oppression, now rose in unison, echoing the cries of generations oppressed by colonial, unleashed their brutal force, intimidation. But the courageous miners, fueled by a relentless spirit of defiance, stood resolute in the face of brutality. They refused to be cowed into submission, igniting a fierce resistance that transcended the picket lines and spilled into the streets, a testament to the indomitable spirit of a people yearning to be free. The Enugu Coal Riot was not merely a labor dispute. It was a battle cry for liberation, a stark declaration that the workers of Nigeria would no longer tolerate the shackles of colonial oppression. The resonating clash between the forces of colonial repression and the unyielding spirit of the miners bore witness to the aspiration of an entire nation, awakening a fervent desire for self-rule and independence. The aftermath of the Enugu Coal Riot was marked by the lingering echoes of defiance and the reverberations of hope. The colonial administration found itself besieged by mounting pressure to address the grievances of the miners and confront the broader calls for autonomy and self-governance. The riot had become a catalyst for a burgeoning nationalist movement, an indomitable force that could not be extinguished. The legacy of the Enugu Coal Riot endures as a testament to the resilience and courage of the Nigerian people in the face of oppression. It stands as a timeless reminder of the unyielding spirit of those who refuse to be subjugated, and as an enduring symbol of the unrelenting struggle for workers' rights, social justice, and national liberation. The Enugu Coal Riot of 1949 was not a fleeting moment in history. It was a roaring fire that illuminated the path to a future where the chains of colonialism will be shattered and the voice of the people will resound with unwavering clarity. It forged an indelible mark on the annals of Nigeria's history, a mark that speaks of courage, solidarity, and the timeless pursuit of freedom. And that's the show for tonight. I am Bola Oba. Have a good
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hello there. My name is Olusheyi Akinwale Fashwi. Orúkọ rere ó sàn ju wúrà lọ, meaning a good name is worth more than gold. That was the creed imparted in us when growing up. This forms the background to my good old days story. My late grandfather, an Ondo man from Okegbogi compound in Ondo State, was a revered Reverend Father of the Anglican Communion that traversed the whole of Western region back then. His sojourn in line of work brought him to Abeokuta, where he met and married my grandmother of the Deke family at Ikuruake, Abeokuta. This is the basis of my dual lineage of an Ondo man and Egba man. My late father, Prophet Olujimi Timothy Fashwi, resident in Ibadan, retired as a higher executive officer at the then Nigerian Cocoa Board, Cocoa House, while my late mother, a trader, Oluyemisi Fashwi, hails from Abeokuta. I was born at Lafia Hospital in Ibadan. I am the first of only 2 children, the other being a girl, now married. I grew up with my maternal uncle, late Mr. Adekunle Ladende Esquire, who was then an agricultural officer, and my uncle was transferred to Ogun State after creation of states in the 70s. Then to St. Leo's High School for secondary, Ogun State Polytechnic for A-levels, and University of Ilorin, where I obtained B.A. Hans degree in performing arts. Growing up was memorable and indeed indelible. From early days at Old Bodija, Ibadan, where streets were paved, neat clean gutters and drainage systems, security guaranteed, even with low fence and no barbed wires. It was then considered uncultured to speak across fence to your neighbors. Notable places then were Palm Chemist, Keba Chemist, KS Motel, Cocoa House, Agodi Gardens and Zoo, Premier Hotels, Rotunda, and a host of others. In those days of strong values, Our normal day usually will begin with bell ringing by daddy, my uncle, for prayers. Songs from hymnal books, psalms from Bible were sung and recited off heart. Till date, I can still read Psalm 23, 121, 122, 103, 91, and some others from memory. Then, everyone had a car to do before school. Everyone was trained to write with Ami, the foundational phonemic notations of Yoruba language, which is Doremi, and speak in Yoruba language. Proverbs, idioms, witty sayings, storytellings. Alo, alo. Òrùkú tindi tindi tindi, òrùkú tindi tindi tindi, òrùkú bímọ gbogbo ọmọ ẹ̀ ló yàjẹ́ o. Kí ni o? Pardon me as I won't be able to translate this in English language, but it suffices to say each story then ended with a lesson in moral and conduct. It is strange, therefore, to know that majority of families nowadays train their children strictly on English language and eroding our cultures and traditions, all in the name of westernization. This is a tickling time bomb. Values inculcated in us were good character, good name, discipline, integrity, truthfulness, cleanliness, hard work, dedication, loyalty, God-fearing, sound education, and responsibility. I remember a day I was running late and dressed up for school without doing my morning cars. As I prostrated fully, saying, Udabosa, meaning bye-bye, sir, Daddy asked, have you done your course? In Yoruba, I couldn't answer in the affirmative. He then asked that I should go and remove my uniform and perform my duties, and that when I get punished for lateness in school, next time I'll learn to wake up earlier and do my cars. This taught me how to be responsible and time conscious. I remember another incident of my goose. My uncle requested for a glass of water. 50-50 calls it. Half hot water and half cold water, making it warm water. As I dashed from his front, I accidentally kicked or brushed his leg while leaving. He called me back and instructed me in Yoruba, Lo mu adawa kowage itakun to fese kolenkan, meaning go and bring a cutlass, machete, and cut the tree roots you kicked then. I turned to leave, only to realize my goof of not apologizing when I kicked his foot in error. I quickly prostrated and said, sorry, sir. That was courtesy lesson 101. I never forgot the incidents and lessons, using an idiom for corrections. Wow. I remember the good old telephone always under lock and key. I won't disclose some naughty pranks we played to dial numbers without opening the padlock. God help you if you are caught in the act. Your punishment will be near capital. I recall my uncle had tools of various artisans. We repaired minor things ourselves. Hammer, nails, saw, crowbar, shovels, plumb, ladder, plumbing machine, a toolbox for screwdrivers and paint brushes. We actually painted part of the house once. He was a hands-on man, a life skill I possess till date. Memories. What of dress code? Everyone must tuck in their shirts going out, neat and ironed. No collar flying. Hair must be cropped neat at Maridoti Babas, Makola. But what do we have today? Nudity has replaced decency. Now we glorify Yahooism as a profession. Drugs and drunkenness proliferate and rule our world. Mentorship gone to the winds and lawlessness now order of the day. How did we get here? Growing up, our orientation of sound moral values was right, and it has helped me later in life to mix freely with people of diverse cultures and traditions. It is the same values that has helped me in my passion, drive, and calling into integrated development communication initiatives, where we use arts as a tool for advocacy and education for attitudinal change of various publics. This is a clarion call, a call for us to revisit those old-time tested values of integrity, discipline, patriotism, hard work, dedication, humility, good character, and high moral standards. It is time for us to call the emerging generation to borrow a leaf from our past when there was dignity in labor, honesty, perseverance, and belief in God, who is the author and finisher of our faith. Let's shun tribal sentiments and embrace religious tolerance. Hunger does not discriminate. You are uniquely made. Nigeria can and will be great again if we all do the needful and stop the blame game. Let us ask ourselves one question. Am I truthful and honest in my dealings? As a parent, government, or a businessman? What legacy are we leaving behind for our children? They deserve a future that is greater than our past. We owe them a duty to lead them right. Nigeria needs an urgent national moral rebirth to galvanize credible leadership and responsible followership. Therefore, I join Sir Shimore Badejo on this noble initiative to say there is hope for Nigeria still. Our good old days can be a foundation for a better tomorrow. Let's do our bit to make our country great again. Long live!
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. As you can see, I am Uti Elu and I am joined today by two very gorgeous women in the studio with me, NJ and Alera. How are we doing, ladies?
Good.
I love this, your whole outfit. The glasses matches the top.
She looks like all those lawyers that are ready to come and just...
Absolutely. Yeah, you're looking so, like everything is working. The glasses with the top, with the jacket, like the colors are picking everything.
You know, the president has called you and you're ready to go.
I'm ready.
She's doing very well. We also have Alera in studio with us. I've never been on set with Alera before, so this is the first time in my, God, is it 3 years on the show now?
Yeah. It's awesome. I feel good.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm excited about the topic today, right? Yeah. It's going to be a good, fun conversation. But let's take our quote. So here's what we found as today's quote. When traveling in high-risk roads, such as Abuja, Kaduna, Abuja, Lokoja, Okene or Aba, to Port Harcourt roads, then alert your family members, friends and colleagues in order to have someone on hand to pay off the ransom that could be demanded. Now this has been flying around on social media all day today, so we thought that it'd be a great anchor for our story. What do we think about this quote? We'll come to the backstory of the quote, but just take it at face value. What were your first thoughts when you saw it?
For me, it's the audacity at the disclaimer. Okay. Like it's there. So you cannot say he's not there. Okay. They have to tell you.
They told you.
Audacity for me. So
why would you even say something like that?
Like
that you should have your family and friends on hand to pay the ransom?
Yeah, so you can say...
Meaning that human life is no longer important. I'm not saying that the government should be willing to pay, but you do not say something like this.
Why would you even write it?
So the perspective, and I hear you, the why is very important. But there's also, it is a sign of our current reality, right? That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Whatever you decide to do, however you want to swing it, it's a sign of the times. But we have time today to flesh out and discuss and decide what our perspectives are. The relevance of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC in Nigeria has been a subject of debate in recent years, particularly in light of the escalating insecurity across the country. While some argue that the program remains a valuable tool for promoting national unity and social development, Others contend that it has become outdated and poses an unnecessary risk to participants. It is our Ladies' Night Out, and NJ Alera and I are here to discuss the topic, State of Insecurity, is NYC still relevant? And when we open our phone lines, we would absolutely love to hear what you have to say. But first, let's take a quick break to see what we found in the news. Please stay with us.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb.
You're still watching Ways. National Cashew Day is celebrated annually on November 23rd. It is a day to celebrate this delicious, versatile nut, which is enjoyed by people all over the world. Cashews are a good source of protein, fiber, and vitamins and minerals, including magnesium, copper, and vitamin B6. They're also a good source of antioxidants, which can help to protect the body from damage caused by free radicals. Who is a cashew lover? Yeah. It's me. It's not so.
Recently I started taking granules, so anything that is nutty.
Yeah, not. So I'm a big fan of nuts. I think that I used to avoid peanuts when I was younger because of my skin.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, peanuts is like my go-to superfood. Yeah. I think I probably go through a bottle maybe like every week or so. Just because, yes, thankfully the skin is a bit better now, it's calmer. But I mean, they just offer so many benefits, and particularly like for me, I'm trying to keep my cholesterol in check. So the good fats in the nuts help to reduce it. But I mean, I love cashews. I think the problem I have with cashews, I don't think that the ones that I eat, the local ones, and the cashew fruit actually is delicious. I love the fruit itself.
I think is it the seed that is acidic or is the fruit?
The fruit is acidic, yes.
The juice touches.
Yes, exactly. That's it. That's the fruit. But the nut itself, somehow we've not figured out how to roast the nut quite right. for me
Do you want to try
here.
DIY?
Yeah, I find that if you think about it, when you buy the imported ones, it's always nice and dry and all of that. So I think there's maybe something in the way we're roasting it locally that is not quite working. But I still eat it too. But I still eat it.
I have tried the ones from like Cotonou. There's a way that they roast it. It's really crunchy. Even their ground. There's a way that they roast it is really nice.
The technique must be different.
There's probably something that they use, some ingredient that they.
I know, but I mean, cashews are just like all nuts.
I think right now for me, cashew is more than
peanuts. I mean, all nuts for me is just you know, when you read all the articles, they say just eat a handful.
Yes.
They were not talking.
You're done with half of the bottle. So I've been taking granules of late, and then what I've been doing is, you know, when you eat granules and banana, the taste, the combination is always. Then I started noticing that I started having like acne here and there. So what I now decided to do is I started battling it with the ginger shots remedy. So I eat the granules as I like. Then I now have like the ginger shots that I've
Ginger shot does what now?
So ginger shot, they basically does like
antioxidant.
Yes, so it cleanses your system from the inside out. So what I do is I blend ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, garlic, black pepper, black seed, and clove.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, all of that. And when I wake up in the morning after brushing my teeth.
So do you steep it in water or you just drink it?
I just take a shot.
Just take a shot of it
every day.
I have mixture is quite.
It's a lot.
That's extreme.
Yeah,
it's more than the usual.
I'm glowing.
So, I can give you.
Yes, you are.
So I do the same thing, but it's already made.
Right.
So there's a ginger, so they sell the ginger.
Okay, so I think I've seen those ginger shots.
Yeah,
yes.
so they sell they sell the small bottles and then the bigger ones that you can. Yeah, well,
Because turmeric on its own is colorful, so if they make it for you, you wouldn't really know how rich it is. So I would rather do my blend in my kitchen.
So you blend with the fresh turmeric, right?
Yes.
Ginger turmeric.
That's
Doesn't that thing? It colors everything. But anyway, I'm happy to hear that we're all keeping healthy in our own ways. But you see, you stop eating your groundnut stops at what's it called? You stop at banana, right? I eat groundnuts with watermelon. Not even bread. I eat it with watermelon. I eat it with watermelon. I eat it with apple. I eat it with cucumber. Like literally every fruit possible. I have it with it. Like it just works. And then I have it with plantain as well.
That's
obviously.
true. I think the Igbo people food. I'm trying to remember the name. The blend, the nuts blend that they eat with garden egg.
Oh yes, of course. That's peanuts. That's peanuts as well. Okay. Cool. So happy cashew day to all the cashew lovers out there. What did you find first? Let me start with you, NJ.
Okay, so a lot of ththings have been happening in the news lately, and my story tonight is something that Tosin Silver Dam wrote on his Instagram page and on social media. He posted it on social media, and I quote: "Police should arrest J Boogie and his friend Kim for scamming Nigerians. J Boogie does not need a kidney transplant. The GoFundMe account has been flagged. They have refused to provide test results from the hospital. They have blocked all the people soliciting funds for them. Even the LGBT community."
Give us a backstory to it, because I've lost.
So J Boogie is a transgender living in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
And has been quite popular on social media, just like Bob
Risky, yes,
and James
Brown.
So there are others, but this story is centered around J Boogie. So I hear that he had he has undergone some procedures, and at this point he wanted to do something corrective.
Okay.
And then went into the hospital and came out with a bad case of, I don't know what it's called, because I don't know what it's called.
Okay, I see.
But it affected his kidney, and something about him not being able to pee, pass urine for a couple of days, and so many videos have been coming up on social media. One of him actually having a conversation with some people, telling them his life was in danger, and that he was going to shut down any moment, and soliciting for funds. And over the course of the week, a lot of people, social media personalities and what have you have come out on social media to solicit for funds, and for prayers for J Boogie. And sometime, maybe earlier in the week or so, something like this comes out. There are speculations that the GoFundMe account had raised, I think, over 200 million. And there was a story, the story now coming up is that all that was a scam to raise money.
Wow.
So, okay, so I don't think this is quite surprising, because in the news lately, a lot of things have been happening. A lot of people who are supposedly dead and RIP'd are coming back to life. And then a lot of people who, are using it as a method, as a strategy to,
get more popular,
improve their, music career, and, foster. I don't know how low it's coming. It tallies all around with everything that we're saying, because recently we've been talking about where the mindset is right now, and how low people will go to be popular, be famous, and all these things are just showing you that really, like you said, is the end times, because really it's just amazing how low people would go. You claim, some people are claiming,
what it is. People just claim all sorts,
and now you claim, you
money.
put out videos, and now companies are trying to sponsor you
they
and
quite
help
think
you
it
out.
Through, do they?
That's
how it works.
That is always how you get caught.
Well.
It's a pity, because really, this is the reason why some people don't even help.
People don't want to help, and
But
that's
also, on the
part
other hand, 200 million Nigerians?
No, it's easily done. And when Davido said they should do, was it birthday or whatever, how much turned up? No, that's one is, well, a lot of people, small money, don't joke with retail. But good luck to them. Hello, what did you find first?
The integrity part, it's like nobody has morals anymore. Everybody just does what
everybody wants to blow. Yeah.
It's crazy.
What did you find first?
Well, for me, it's kind of going to pick
show themselves, and they showed us what they can do. Do you understand? I am devastated. I am heartbroken that this was a scam. I still can't believe it. When I lie down, I'm like, God, please, let this be a joke. Let me just wake up one day and they'll tell me, oh, the reason why they cut people off was because of something. Not like they scammed us. Because a lot of people showed forth. And when we found out that this was when organizations started reaching out to say they wanted to clear the hospital bills, and they needed proof so they can clear hospital bills. It was so good that we had organizations reach out, they wanted to take Jay out of Nigeria, to seek asylum or something and get permanent residence. Jay's life would have been so perfect if this was all true. And the next,
you can hear the pain in that. So like we said, good luck to them. Alara, let's move over to your story.
So for my story today, WHO asked China for more data on respiratory illness breakouts. So the World Health Organization has asked China for more data on respiratory illnesses spreading in the northern part of the country, but Beijing has refused to give a public comment around this, and it's been really crazy that same China back in 2019 actually were the beginning of the whole COVID-19, and now there's an influenza-like illness that is spreading in China. And WHO is actually asking them to provide more data so that they can prepare the world for this outbreak that they claim is happening. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still going to move back to taking health into your own hands. And we know that the body can heal itself. So the earlier you start taking things that will make you strong enough, the better for you. Because all of these things come in right, left, and center.
It's just scary.
It's very scary.
In fact, when I saw this story, I thought to myself, wow.
What next?
What again? Again, all I just was again.
What should we do?
It's again so many. It's an unfolding story. So let's see where it goes and hope and pray that it doesn't turn into something more serious.
Yeah.
My own story, I very quickly touch on it. The headline says Lagos loses 4 trillion naira annually to traffic congestion. Of course, this is no surprise. We all live in Lagos. We know how bad traffic can be. This was coming out of a recent study done by the Dani Institute for Research. That was looking at the impact and the behavioral causes of traffic congestion in Lagos. It's no story. 21 million people living in Lagos, and traffic is a huge burden, it's a huge problem. What really stood out for me in the story, it says the report highlights that Lagosians spend an average of 2.21 hours commuting daily, with 45% spending more than 2 hours. I mean, 2 hours is even, if you do 2 hours, you're good, right? It can easily be 4 or 5, you know, depending on what's happening on the road. But
now that the Third Mainland Bridge is even closed, it's even the worst. Because this happened like how many years ago? Same thing, you're going to close the bridge for 6 months. So now everyone is passing through Ikorodu Road, crossing. It's horrid.
Well, is it fully closed? I don't think the bridge itself is fully closed. I think the ramps, I know the Adekunle exits and Yaba are closed, but yeah, the bridge itself is still. Yeah, so they started off with the ramp outwards from VI, going towards the mainland, but they've now also closed it on the other side for 5 weeks or thereabouts. But yeah, so I mean, it's just the impact of it, and we all know, we all suffer traffic, we all suffer the debilitating. It's just interesting when you then see someone actually put a number to the cost of that traffic. But let's take a quick break and we'll jump into the topic when we get back. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. The National Youth Service Corps is a program set up by the Nigerian government during the military regime to involve Nigerian graduates in nation building and the development of the country. There is no military conscription in Nigeria, but since 1973, graduates of universities and polytechnics have been required to take part in the National Youth Service Corps program for 1 year. This is known as the National Service Year, and over the years, NYSC has had both positive and negative effects on Nigeria. On the positive side, the program has been shown to promote national unity and cohesion. It has also been shown to develop the leadership potential of Nigerian youth and to promote self-reliance and entrepreneurship. On the negative side, the NYSC has been criticized for being outdated and no longer serving a purpose. It has been criticized for being poorly funded and for not providing adequate safety and security for its participants. Tonight, we're talking about youth service and the state of insecurity in Nigeria, and we're asking, is NYSC still relevant? Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 0818-038-4663. NYSC. So I already know that NJ served in Abuja. Where did you serve?
Ibadan.
He served in Ibadan. Okay, so I served in Lagos. So I think we have a good cross-section. I think we're only missing the east, right? But we have a good cross-section. So I want to start out first, before we move to insecurity, I want to, touch on what your NYSC experiences were like. We just talked about what the positives are, what the negatives are, what the real reason for it was in the first place, which is nation building. So I'd just like to hear very quickly what your experiences were and what your thoughts were based on your experience. Was it a worthwhile experience for you, or could you have missed it?
If I'm to be honest, I would say I could have missed it.
Okay.
There was nothing special about it. It just felt like we were at some boot camp, and some people just wanted to have fun with rich, poor, anybody that was wearing that uniform, and it was just an opportunity for some people and to even get out of their house.
Was that your first time in Abuja when you served?
No.
Okay. So you had some experience with the town already?
Yes, yes. But you can never... NYSC in Abuja is that it's
like the deeper part of the...
is inside the bush.
So that's the orientation camp?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with town until you're out 2 weeks. I think my experience, I had a horrible experience on I think the last day or the last major activity we had, where you have to take this long walk around the town, up a mountain, down a mountain, and we were wearing those khakis. Those khakis were horrible. The fabric was do you know, at the end of the walk, I did the walk, but I couldn't walk again. Why? My thighs, the khakis had scraped my skin so badly that they couldn't touch each other again. Like for a while. You know, you have to lie down with your legs open just for it to dry up. It was like the fabric, I just
it wasn't meant for that activity.
We were having showers outside because the bathroom was an eyesore, and it felt like being back in boarding house, and I didn't even just want to be close to that place. So it wasn't. We had people. Some of us had to buy pure water and fill up a bucket just to take a clean shower because you were not sure what you were showering with when you were. You know, you're not sure of the source of the water. It was colored. You know, it was. Come on. I felt like I was back in JSS 1.
So that was your, for all intents and purposes, that was your orientation camp experience.
Yes.
What about the rest of the year?
Well, for the rest of the year, I got posted to the telecoms company, and I think I had a wonderful experience there because it was an organization that had like a very future-driven kind of outlook and strategy to their business. So I found myself in procurement. I had a lovely boss who didn't see me as a youth corporal, but as a procurement officer. So I was given tasks, and very quickly I was given tasks. It's just that there's a limit to what they can give you because you're an NYSC staff, so there's a limit to the information. But I had a great experience working with them, and for some of them I still keep in touch with some of them over the years, and just after some time, so it was a great experience, and it really opened me up to that whole work life, getting me ready for the world.
Are you still in touch with any of your maybe people you met during the NYSC experience?
Yes, some of them are actually some of my best friends right now because we have stories to tell.
Hold on to that thought. Alera, let's come to you.
My NYSC experience was pretty interesting. NJ's story was basically making me remember, but I want to talk about the treatment.
Yeah.
Like how the soldiers treat coppers. The early morning waking up, they might pour water on you to wake you up with whistles. Then in case you oversleep and they don't come to wake you up, they won't bother. They will just come when everybody's outside, and then if you're caught on the bed, you're not going to kneel down where people had their bath. So when NJ said, people have their bath outside, then your punishment is that you go and kneel down on top of that
inside the soapy water. Yeah.
But for me, I was just my question is, why that treatment? Why do you have to be wicked to people? I know a lot of people that fainted during the standing under the sun and in the rain, which is part of their anthem. What's that thing called? During NYSC, I didn't enjoy it per se.
This is camp now.
In camp, yes.
Okay.
I did not enjoy it at all because for me it was just an unnecessary time. Like there's mosquitoes everywhere. You're not eating well. You have to go and queue to eat some food, and then the rich people's children, the governor's children, the politicians' children, of course, we see what happened and there's nothing we can do about it. We'll just observe and maybe be their friends from a distance. Mami markets, everybody going to have friends. I mean, it was a good experience for some people, but I didn't enjoy it. Leaving NYSC camp, I was posted to a school, a secondary school that I had to teach. And I only enjoyed, being able to make impact on those kids because I saw what they were going through as children. I think my best experience is a girl, Lolade. We still talk today because she was a child in one of the school classes I taught. But most of those people, they're not really their life, their educational life is not really so great. So for me, it felt good to be in that setting, to experience that thing with those kids and help them grow and help them get better. However, like you said, it's underfunded because with everything, including the NYSC organization, including these secondary schools, when you see how everything is, you just be wondering, what's the essence of all of this? I finished and I ran back to Lagos because I didn't want to have the NYSC.
Okay. So we have
Was it really worth it?
No, it wasn't.
So I think I'm the complete antithesis to the both of you because, I mean, the things you said about camp,
were true. The camp was horrid. I mean, I served in Lagos, but the camp was still not nice. And the bathrooms are still questionable, but we could still use them inside. If you had to wake up really early, so as soon as they clean them, you make a beeline and take a shower beforehand. I think I had a really negative impression. I think I've talked about it many times on the show. I had a negative impression when I was coming because I'd heard all sorts of horror stories. And I literally went in and I was like, okay, I'm stuck here for 2 weeks. I'm going to try and make the best of it. And I had a blast, actually. I carried color, I marched, I carried the flag, I played volleyball. I tried drama for a little bit, but then it was clashing with carrying the flag, and that was more important to me. That was more fun. And then I got posted foreign enough to Alausa, Ministry of Information. And trust me, I was not finding it funny. The first day I got there, it was but in the end, I think I still made the best of it, and I had a fantastic time. I'm still in touch with my boss as well. So all of these things, I think, the question for me in wanting to hear what your experiences were like is, the first part of it that says, is NYSC still worth it? One of the things that I took away from that camp was meeting so many people from all over Nigeria. That for me, my camp was very well blended with people from all over Nigeria. So it was interesting to meet all these sorts of different people. You just assume that everybody you meet, I mean, I grew up in Lagos, so you assume that everybody you meet has that similar experience. So meeting people from all over was really for me, it was quite interesting. So from a value perspective in terms of nation building, people that I have spoken to, I was even still talking to one yesterday, and she served in Kaduna, and she was talking about how she misses it because, food was growing everywhere, the north, she didn't want to come back. The concept and the context itself of what NYSC is, I think the thing that it was meant for is needed even more today than ever before. Because we're so divided, right? If we can get this right, the concept of you and I being able to see each other in that context, outside of I think you're Yoruba, I think you're Igbo, I think you're Hausa, all of these stories that we know are going around today, the different tribal issues and things like that. I think that NYSC process is still needed today. It doesn't take away from the fact that the security is a problem. It doesn't take away from the fact that it's underfunded. We could say the same thing for education, but nobody's asking us to scrap education, right? If you take on one hand the number of kids that have been kidnapped from schools, and you take on the other hand the number of core members that have been kidnapped on the roads, the schools are way down here, right? And so that's the perspective that I come from in saying that yes, there are challenges, right? But that particular thing of giving people the opportunity to be around people who are different and have grown up in different parts of the country, I think is still really, really valid. So the idea now coming to hear your thoughts around the insecurity part of it, and before we even come to, I guess, insecurity for NYSC and this clip that has been circulating again on social media today, that whole process of insecurity versus traveling on the roads, why do we think the risk, because for me, when I saw this, I was like, is the risk any higher for core members than anybody else on the road?
No, it's not actually. It's not. Because, core members are not working. So, like they said, you have to alert your friends or your family members to come and pay your ransom. So, but it's the same thing as anybody else, to be honest. Because most of these core members, most people are just regular kids that are just finishing school. So, and their parents are not so, it's really crazy to see this kind of thing. Like, I was really surprised when I saw that, what I call it, disclaimer.
No, we'll come back to it.
I'm surprised I saw that. But, like you said, I know people who on the road to Zaria, which one is really far from Lagos. Like they took like 4 days, and some of them were sleeping at bus park, and we know how dangerous these things could be. So this is something that have been happening for a long time, like years, right? But now with the prominent there, but like kidnapping is now very prominent, and everybody is at risk. So with that, they are just saying, maybe it's their lawyer that advised them that will put it there so that it not look as if you guys do not say it.
Yeah, I totally agree with Alera. Yeah, I think it's not any higher. It doesn't change they're victims as much as the next person, a working class, and you would even wonder why they'll take an NYSC. Maybe because they know that, okay, parents, definitely the parents will do anything to get their kids back. But when it's an older person and they don't have money, it will be considered differently. But is the thought behind putting it out there that really...
So now let's come to that. So I like the fact that you mentioned that. So I said earlier that this clip is not actually new. So it showed up on social media first time, I think, about 2 years ago in 2021.
Okay.
So this is like you know how things just sort of research on social media. So it's not new. And when it came out back then, the NYSC actually came out to rebut it. So the first thing I think they said was, oh, there are many versions of their manual or their pamphlets around, right? So that was the first thing. And then they then had their press person who now came back and said, oh, it's been brought to our attention that this is circulating. And then they did a full disclaimer to say, this was not us, that yes, we have a manual that's been done by a retired security expert, but this part is miscreants who are trying to take advantage. I mean, forget the fact that there were so many screenshots flying around on social media, but let's even give them the benefit of the doubt, right? But in that document, it clearly was saying, if you are traveling don't travel at night. If you're traveling on these roads, then make sure somebody is ready to pay the ransom. And then when I even started to look, so in the last, Chibok happened in 2014, right? So between 2014 and now, about, from what I can sort of see, there's less than 100 core members that have been kidnapped in that time. Some released, and various things. I think even the most recent one I saw was, I think it was in August, where they said that 2 that were kidnapped somewhere around Kogi were released. And in fact, the person who was speaking to it was speaking to coppers at the orientation camp and said, you know, these people have just been released. And then the focus consistently is on don't travel at night. So the burden keeps coming back onto the core members, which is why I asked the question earlier about where is the risk? Because if we're out traveling at night, and most of the time, these guys are on their way to orientation camp. Because in my mind, I try to process these things logically. Like, so in a bus, do they announce, if you're a core member, come down? Or I know that I see core members on the road, maybe during their CD days, they're wearing their uniforms. So when you're on your way to orientation camp, you don't even have your uniform yet. So is this when they say core members, in my mind I'm like, is this how the story sells? When I just say is it everybody in the vehicle that is being kidnapped or not, right? But the focus, even with whether this is genuine or not, the focus kept on saying, you know, you need to protect yourself, take responsibility, don't travel at night. And the question for me is, why are these people traveling at night? Is it cheaper? Is it you're saying travel from approved bus parks? Again, is it cheaper? So what is the real root cause of this thing? Are you putting round pegs in square holes, which means I've told you now, come and go to Zamfara, but I don't care whether you can afford to get to Zamfara.
What I was even going to say is that the time and distance, it takes some people 4 days, which includes night. So is it that when the day is getting dark, everybody will not go and stay in a hotel and maybe rest somewhere?
Who's paying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not like there are bus parks or bus stations that are safe enough for people to actually
sleep in.
We have bus companies that have different states that they have offices. So if at all they say, okay, maybe when it's 6 p.m. it's getting dark, the bus park office at that state would have like an apartment or a hotel or wherever, right, that people can stay and then continue their trip the next morning. Then I also remember that back in the day when luxurious bus was raining, then if you have to travel from Lagos to Onitsha, it's easier for you to go at night so that by morning you've gotten to your destination and you're able to
traffic
you're able to go to your
like
business and go to the market. On your way back you come back at night. So that's how it has always been. But now with the whole insecurity issue, but my point is the journey from wherever they are to the NYSC orientation camp takes longer than 12 hours. So if you're giving the disclaimer that
so I will be on the road
you're not even giving me an
option.
So what do I do?
Yeah.
You're not even because I have it's a compulsory task for every Nigerian but are you even creating an opportunity for it to be safe for us? Because you're putting it in my own hands and I don't even have the control.
Yeah. And these are people who are not even earning.
They are children.
Absolutely.
They're not even earning anything.
They're not earning money. We don't know the financial capacity of their parents. I mean, there's so many ways to take it. And the reason why I say that, right, is because when you come back to the insecurity side of it, right, it's unsafe for everybody right now.
Yeah.
Everybody that is traveling on the roads, it is a risk that you take.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself right now that you're going to drive even from Lagos to Ibadan, it is a risk that you're taking. So no matter what it is, even within the city, within this Lagos here environment, right, there's all sorts of risk issues that insecurity is causing. So when we now come back and we say, because everything they've said so far is protect yourself, protect yourself.
Yeah.
Now, if I move away from core members and just come to kidnapping in general, in the last 6 months, I've had some kidnapping cases pretty close to me, and the feedback for all those cases were the same. The authorities themselves are saying, ain't nothing else to do, let's figure out how we're going to pay. And even the people who started off,
it's not let us.
Well, you figure out how to pay. And the truth of it is, this didn't even matter. Some of the cases were pretty people who had access to pretty people that were pretty high up, right? And the feedback was still the same. There's no, we're going in there, we're going to go and figure it out. The security forces, these security forces themselves have now accepted, that's what it appears to be, that we've accepted that kidnapping in Nigeria is now a going concern. So just pay, if you love your loved ones, pay and get them back. And we've seen that happen time and time again with the students who have been kidnapped from various educational institutions. The parents all come together and pay. So, because for me it's like, let's distill the problems. Kidnapping and insecurity is a problem on this side.
Yeah.
The poor administration of the NYSC program is another problem. The NYSC program itself, for me, is not the problem. The objective is not the problem, right? But what are we calling as where we're going for these kids that we're now sending out into the world? But I think we should take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. If you're just tuned in, it's our Ladies' Night Out and we're discussing the topic state of insecurity. Is NYSC still relevant? Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp 20818-038-4663. And our phone line is also now open, so please call us on 0702-500-7749. We really love what you have to say about the topic. So I'll come back to you, ladies, and I think that as we are, the time really does fly when we're having conversations like this. The problem is clear, right? The insecurity is on one side. The issues with NYSC are on one side, and we have seen, whether in truth or disclaimed, that the onus for security has been placed on the young people. If you had a utopian world and you were running NYSC today, what kind of changes would you make or would you propose to deal with this challenge as we have dimensioned it?
So, what kind of changes? If you want to start from the orientation camp itself, I would say definitely it starts with the facility, the infrastructure, the living arrangements. This is not a prison, so let's not make it look like one and feel like one. Then I understand like Alero mentioned, the discipline from the people who have been placed there to discipline you. I think, and I understand the idea behind it. They're trying to toughen you up and get you ready for
The military version.
Yes,
lifestyle.
exactly. But there should be some concern, some humanity somewhere in there. You are not trying to. These are not prisoners, like I said. So you're not trying to discipline them to the point where you're just trying to toughen them up. So the discipline should be measured adequately. Let me put it like that. And there should be some concern about what kind of life and environment they have there, because also there were bushes and different things, so the living environment generally, and then what you're trying to. I know that during you mentioned a couple of things, activities that happened within, like all the Mr. NYSC, Miss NYSC, the pageant and all that, but maybe therein there should be some activities also infused in that helps you on an intellectual level and what have you, to help improve people. Maybe teach them some actuals, get people to what you see as training now, get people to actually come in, tell them how to present themselves, tell them how to
prepare
speak,
you for the career world,
how to how to present yourself when you're in front of an interview board or interview council, things that would actually help them, because right after NYSC camp they're going right into the world. So if your style of toughening them up is not adequate for where they're going to, then it's a waste of time.
And do you want to add anything?
I was going to say that when it comes to the transportation bit, there's nothing anybody can do about that part, because it's not even about whether they are coppers or not. There's the risk on insecurity and they have to go by road. Even if they fly to Abuja and then they are going to Zaria or Kaduna, they still have to go by road. And these bandits are aware of all of these things, so it's not like they are particularly searching that going to look for NYSC candidates or But for me, I feel like NJ said, the infrastructure is one thing. I remember when I was there, it was a lot of art and craft, learning how to make beads, learning how to make hats, all of those things. But those things do not really prepare you for the real world that we are all experiencing right now. After NYSC, everybody wanted a job, and most of the jobs that were being offered were internship, or go and do this or that, not intellectual things that will help them to defend themselves and present themselves. So I believe that the core reason why NYSC started should actually maybe they should talk about it again, because I feel like multi-state or multicultural mixture. I'm from Bayelsa, I'm meeting somebody from Lagos, I'm meeting someone from Akwa Ibom. I won't have even met them before, but you're able to understand how everyone in Nigeria has how many ethnic group. It's a lot. Do you have an idea what the number is?
I think at the last check, I think it was over 250.
So imagine different ethnic groups that you're meeting people for the first time. So it's just amazing to be able to familiarize with other people's culture. But at the same time, I didn't really enjoy it. I met a lot of people that I'm sorry, I must have forgotten a lot of them right now, because I wanted to get out of that place real fast. So
so that the experience itself, or the downsides of the experience sort of gave you tunnel vision. All you were focused on was getting out of there. I think that for me, on that security aspect, I think that there's so much that can be done. There's just not creativity being applied to it, because let's take in the United States. They have problems with guns. Same thing, people come into schools, they have active shooter situations. What have they done, right? Beyond securing the schools in terms of whether it's, safety doors that can only open from inside and all of those kind of things. But then they've also trained the kids. So they have active shooter drills. So kids in school know what they're supposed to do when there's an active shooter situation. Do you shelter in place? Do you block your classroom door? Do you keep quiet? Do you call 911 straight away? Right? So if we truly say that we want to solve this problem, if we accept that maybe there's a higher risk factor for youth coppers, right? And like we said, you're on the road for 4 days. How do you keep yourself safe? Now, these are things you can actually teach people. The information about where to sleep in a town. So if I'm sending you to Zamfara, for example, I give you a pack that tells you, I know where you're coming from. I know where you are going. I give you information first and foremost. I give you a pack that says, these are the approved
locations to rest,
bus parks.
stopovers.
These are the approved bus companies that we know that, okay, you first of all done the base level. Secondly, I tell you, don't wear anything that identifies you as a core member, right? If you find yourself in this situation at night, go and do this. This is the real information, not find somebody, like they said, whether it's true or false, not find somebody to pay ransoms. Now, the second part, and that comes to what you raised. If it's going to take me 4 days to get from Lagos to my location, if you Google online today for security alerts or security ratings, you will find different state governments, different countries put out risk alerts and reports about different. So I get various reports. The US government does one, the UK government does one. I get the emails, and it clearly has Nigeria divided and color coded. This is red, do not travel. This is yellow, travel only when extremely necessary. This is green, green, you are good, but take these precautionary measures. Now, if I already have that kind of information, for starters, if it is red, I know that I will take a decision not to send anybody from out of state to that location. You have graduates in that place. Use them for the program there. If you must continue to run the program pan Nigeria, put the people in those locations into the program there, right? At least whilst we are still, because the insecurity problem is bigger than NYSC. Let's be clear, right? So put them there. Then the people that you are now moving around in the other parts, where are you moving them to? Do you have any information? I know that we don't collect preference because people, want to stay and all of that. But if, for example, I live in Lagos and I have family members in Anambra, give me the opportunity to say, I'm not going to allow you to stay in your state.
Let me stay.
But give me the opportunity to go somewhere
where there's some safety.
Where I have some. Do you get what I mean? Because this is not, the core objective. Okay, we have a call, I believe. Loma from Abia State. Good evening, Loma. Can you hear us?
Good evening.
Thank you for calling in. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I just and I'm seeing what you people just ask. See, let me just tell her. So as long as Federal Character Commission is not observing why the agency was created, I'm telling you, there's no need of NYSC going on again. You see what is happening? They go somewhere, they'll be killed, they'll be kidnapped. The reason for NYSC was for integration. The reason for Federal Character Commission Agency is for integration. See, the government of the day, from President Muhammadu Buhari, did not respect Federal Character Commission. Our new president now, Tinubu, is not respecting it the way it's supposed. So that is why NYSC allowing it is like risking the life of innocent youth. People that will serve this country will no matter what the elders are doing. See the youth, they will serve this country. Watch out and see. The only thing they are doing now is just temporary. The other one, the aged one, is not temporary. As time goes on, the youth will take over this country and they will reform it. So I don't subscribe to our youth, the NYSC, working now. Let them go to their various things. Let's realize that it is that for the meantime. Until when we decide to call ourselves Nigeria and speak with one voice and stay with one body and know that we are our brother's people. But if we continue with this way, I'm telling you, they will continue killing these young people. It's painful. They'll continue kidnapping them. So let it stop for now. Until when the country, the leadership of this country decides to take security as the mainstay of any government that will progress, so that this youth will not be kidnapped again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you
so much.
I mean, I can understand the passion with which he's speaking, because on the surface of it, when you look at it, it just seems ridiculous, right? It's avoidable. But like I said at the beginning of the show, shall we scrap education?
No.
So it's a valid point, and I can understand the sentiment. But like we were saying, it's important that we get that security aspect right. So the whole idea of zoning and deciding, where should a person go, giving people opportunities or options to go to places where maybe they have safer ways of transporting themselves. There's so many ways. I think what was most frustrating for me was that it just seems like we've accepted it. And it's because we are desensitized to people dying and people going through this kidnapping. So where in that same 8-year period, nearly 2,000 students or almost 2,000 students have been kidnapped. Some killed, some released. We know that even some of the, there's Chibok, there's Dapchi, there is, what was the one in Katsina with the young boys?
Yeah.
We've become desensitized to it.
It's not
right? So it's a norm. So everywhere, we've just accepted that it is happening. You refuse to scrap it, which is what people like Loma are calling for. If you're not going to do it and do it properly, scrap it. So it's not an invalid mindset. It's perfectly valid. But the fact is, if you're not going to do anything about it, then you can see why they're calling for scrapping it. But there is so much that can be done. That for me is the most frustrating part, because I'm like, if you don't do something about it, it will continue. The whole trajectory of insecurity in this country, it didn't happen overnight. It was little bits, and it has gotten worse. But I think we have a comment. Let's take that quickly. Alera, maybe you want to take that comment.
Right. Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #ways. State of insecurity is NYSC still relevant? We all know without a shadow of doubt that insecurity is the thing in Nigeria, and it is what is trending in Nigeria. The NYSC system in Nigeria is nothing to write home about. To me, if the insecurity continues in Nigeria, then the NYSC should be scrapped. The camp alone is not safe. They will say traveling at night is quicker and safer, but it is not advisable to do so. Bandits are everywhere, and it is not safe for the coppers to travel at any inconvenient time or period. Also, the case of kidnapping and raping is one thing that should be put into consideration to know if NYSC should continue to exist in Nigeria. Hurry, I am so happy to see me. Great to be back. And Daniel Ilo, our regular fan. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I think that this conversation today was really interesting.
Yes,
it's such an important topic that we need to continue to talk about. I will come to you, NJ, to give us your final thoughts and your final word to the NYSC and to the government, Federal Character Commission. What are your final thoughts about
Well, I think my last statement said a lot about where my heart is. I just think that there's a lot that they need to pay attention to. And just like Uti rightfully said, if we're not ready to do it well, let's not do it at all.
Yeah.
But I still agree with you that there is some light at the end of the tunnel for the outcome of what the idea behind
we
NYSC.
hope that there'll be some thoughts around it,
and when we're able to change our mindset, things will come into play.
Let's hope so, and we hope that this conversation will bring about some change. Before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at WasteShowAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our social media engagements. And remember to like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch us and follow us. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. When traveling in high-risk roads such as Abuja Kaduna, Abuja Lokoja Okene, or Aba Port Harcourt roads, then alert your family members, friends, and colleagues in order to have someone on hand to pay off the ransom that could be demanded. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hello Nigeria and hello Nigerians, and it's that time again of true Nigerians, heroes of our time, a time where we bring to you Nigerians that are role models, Nigerians that are worth emulating, Nigerians that have done us well, Nigerians that we look up to. Today my guest on the program, it's a very good friend. She's a veteran actress. She has won several awards both internationally and nationally. She's a youth advocate. She's a top-notch politician. She was also the special advisor on youth affairs to the former governor of Rivers State, talking about Peter Odili. She's a lot of things. If I continue, I might not let you meet her. I think I will just stop here because her CV is very long. If I have to go through it one by one, we might not start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on True Nigerians, heroes of our time, Hilda Dukumbo. It's good to have you on the show at last.
It's good to be here. And by the way, I'm not a top-notch politician. At least not by Nigerian standard and Nigerian
I knew that you were going to say something about that. I just added that. But indirectly or directly, you are. I've seen you in several places talking about tax matters, talking about oil spilling, talking about so many critical, dangerous issues in Nigeria that most people are afraid to talk about. I salute your boldness besides before we start.
We thank God. The truth is, we're all political in a way. I mean, we were born like that. And if you are not also one of those people that, you know, would take in anything without querying status quo, without wanting to have answers for questions, then yes, you're likely to be quiet. But if you're like me and you were raised to ask questions where you do not understand why certain things would happen the way they happen, then you will query. And that's what I do. I query systems, I query structures, I query things that I don't understand, that I think are not right. So if I was not an actor, I'd probably be a lawyer. I don't know, maybe.
I'm sure now they know why we have to have you on this show. Yeah, because you have to say something. It's good for everybody to speak out, especially when things are wrong in the society. Because if you don't speak out, we cannot correct the ills of the society. Okay, let's start with our traditional question. What is your own definition of a true Nigerian?
A true Nigerian is a patriot. Someone who loves Nigeria and will defend Nigeria. That's who a true Nigerian is. Born here, nurtured here, raised here. Maybe not even born here, but you love Nigeria. You love Nigeria enough to make sacrifices.
You went to many schools. You went to government girls secondary school. You went to a missionary school, St. Mary's School. How would you compare missionary schools to government schools? And why do you think that there's high patronage with private schools these days? Because I know you have a teaching background somewhere in your so that's why I'm throwing these questions to you.
Okay, so let's put it this way. Until public schools died, people didn't give
private schools
any chance. As a matter of fact, as a young teenager, if you attended a private school, we used to laugh at you and tease you, because the only people who attended private schools at that time were people who failed, who could not pass the regular grammar school exams. They were the ones who went to private schools. Their parents took them away and sent them to private schools. But like most things in Nigeria, after a while we make them status issues, especially when the people who go that way are, children from quote and unquote rich homes, right? But concerning the private government schools, at the time that I went to school, the government funded education fairly okay, and so we had everyone in the same classroom. So in my secondary school, for instance, I had children of governors in my class. I had children who came in from other states in my class. I had children who parents brought back from abroad in my class. I had white teachers, I had black teachers. So my school was pretty much, defined by the quality of education that we got and the quality of teachers that we enjoyed at the time. So we were comfortable in our skin. We were comfortable being in our school. And what distinguished you from the other child was your result, your participation in class, and the things that you did. No one cared about who your father was or your mother was. Yes, they will ask you those questions, but they didn't add up to marks. They didn't add up to marks. They didn't add up to preferential treatments. They just added as name, as who you are. Finish. In secondary school, it was a Catholic school, so I had a lot of Catholic nuns in my school. Again, they took real good care of us, because education, I want to believe before now, Nigerians understood its import. Those in government understood its import. But somewhere along the line, and I'll tell you when it started. It started with when wives of governors or wives of people in government at the time, and don't forget it was largely military, began to set up schools and started tagging them American school, British school, French school. At that point, people now started, here they're doing French curriculum. So, a crowd will drift that way. Gradually, because their children were no longer with the children of the poor, they began to, release their interest in education, and they stopped funding education, and then of course teachers started going on strike. So it was this strike today, the other strike tomorrow, and at that point a lot of people didn't care anymore about whether your TA or the teachers in your school had education background. In my school I had people who were graduates of education, so the least you had was NCE for you to teach. If you didn't have NCE and didn't have a teacher's training certificate, you were not allowed in primary schools. If you didn't have MEd or a BEd, you were not allowed in secondary school. So you had to have that education. But when these people set up these private schools, they were taking all of us, whether you had education background at whatever level or not. Then at some point they thought they were going to correct it. They were now insisting, oh, you must have some kind of education thing, blah, 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 blah. Again, you know, no one was pushing it, but most importantly was that all of that collapsed because the Nigerian government stopped paying attention
to public schools
and stopped funding schools properly. So teachers don't get those private trainings that they used to have, because I know growing up as a young teenager in secondary school, our teachers had prep days that they prepare to receive students. We were resuming 2 days before. Your teachers were in school. They were having meetings after meetings, going through all the things that we were going to teach. I recall every Friday, children had interface with teachers. Who's doing that now? No one. I don't want to talk about the things that they removed from the school curriculum. I'm talking about the relationship between the children and their teachers. We lost that. Once upon a time, we had exchange programs, and I'm one of those students who enjoyed it, where I went to school in UK, and another student from the same the school that I went to was sent to my school in Nigeria. Who would do that exchange now? They don't even have any respect for our degrees anymore, so how would they send anybody to us? The US government used to have, and I hope that they still have it, I'm praying that they still have it, international leadership programs where they take Nigerian kids abroad. Are they still doing it? The only reason they could do it at the time that they were doing it was because the quality of education that we received in Nigeria was the same as theirs. So they knew that our children could mix well, talk well, learn, come back.
And those were in public schools.
Public schools. Public schools. So, you know, when we want to get it, we get it.
I'm sure that's the foundation or the origin of ASUU strike.
I guess.
That is where we started getting it wrong, like you have said. Because I think ASUU strike is probably one of the worst things that
has happened to us.
It's a continuous process. It's something that has been happening in Nigeria, and it's very, I know a lot of young people die, young people get
No, it destroyed our educational system, especially the tertiary one, completely. If a semester is 13 weeks, schools are on strike for 10 weeks. Young people are rushed back to school the 11th week. They go through a 13-week program in 1 week, and the next week they have exams. I mean, what kind of graduates do you think you have? What kind of graduates? So they introduced crashing, what students call crashing. So when you crash through your program, the first thing that you teach your students is that you teach them not to take studying seriously. Because if I can do 13 weeks work in 1 week, then it means that I do not need 13 weeks, I need 1 week. Right? But the truth is, do I need 1 week or 13 weeks? That's a question we all need to ask ourselves. But then the only reason why any worker, any teacher would go on strike and leave her students alone means that that teacher is not a teacher. Because teachers don't. I don't know how much my teachers were paid. I don't. I have no idea. But I know my mother was a teacher as well. And I don't think she earned a whole lot. But she was happy each time she was with her students. She was very excited about teaching them. And I took a bit of it, and after first degree I had to go back to do education, because there's nothing as satisfying for a teacher as teaching, right?
Especially looking at your products.
Exactly. You know that you are producing people who would come out and you will be thankful to God that you impacted on a life. Right? But now, because we don't even know where all of this, so if you have people who were not prepared for the kind of sacrifice that teachers make to have others trained, occupy those positions, then you're going to have problems. But then again, you don't blame them alone. They can't keep working. They too have families. Their families need food. And so if they don't even get anything, so how would their own children, their own families be taken care of? So maybe, so you see where it's coming from? It's a long chain.
I'm just cracking my brain in how we can. Is it possible? I can't say ban private schools.
No, I'll tell you what I would say.
The school fees are so high and you are not even sure of what they are teaching you.
Exactly. Let me tell you what I would say as your friend. If we want to get it right, and look, this is my opinion and I have rights to it. If we want to get it right, anybody from this country, in this country, who wants to occupy any public office, any public office, you must have your children in Nigerian public schools, or all of your kids, or at least more than half. So if you have 5 children, 3 must have attended public schools. Otherwise, you do not even qualify to pick the form
for any leadership position.
Any civil servant from the grade level of 8 whose child is not in the public school does not qualify for promotion.
I agree with that.
Once we come up with that,
because that's where we got it wrong in the first place.
Everyone
with the first ladies.
Yes, from the first ladies. Yes. Because it was the first ladies who started opening these schools and in running their businesses. It became a class thing. So if you want to maintain your class, then you need to have your children in this school or in that school. And then of course the not so rich ones as well, average families, began to also find their own class. So now today is a class thing. It's not an education thing. It's a class thing. I want my child in this school or in that school. So yes, we are all now victims. So I can have my child now in any of the schools because I'm worried my child will not get proper education. I'm worried that, okay, 13 weeks, my child is going to be 10 weeks at home and then go to school the 11th week, write the exams, they do revision the 12th week and write the exams the 13th, and then thereafter there's a long vacation that we're not even sure when
he will go back. Which is why people opt for private schools.
No, which is why people are opting now to take, and moved on to university level, which is why people are opting for their kids at university level. As a matter of fact, from senior secondary, they're all opting that their kids go abroad so that they prepare for proper education. So the Nigerian one is not proper education anymore. Right?
So which is why your solution to it, I think, is the best.
Yeah, if you do that.
There's a way that everybody's child should go to a public school.
Yeah.
Or not. Or
you don't qualify. So if I come to pick up form, for instance, and I say I want XYZ office, question number 1 is give us the name of your child between this age and that age. School, you would tell us. Okay, we agree some of them, their kids would have moved on and all of that, but we're talking about the new ones whose kids are in schools now, or whose kids will be in school soon. If your child did not attend a public school, you don't qualify. Let's start it with the civil servants, grade level 9 and above. Then to the politicians, you will see that people will begin to push for proper funding of education. And once they begin to push for that funding, and the education is funded much more than gun carry. Oh, sorry. What do they call the military? Arming the barracks or whatever it is they call it. You will see that the development in this country will just soar high.
I totally agree with you. But a quick one, between an all-boys school, all-girls school, mixed school, given your experience, which one do you think?
Well, my secondary school was all girls. My primary school, of course, was mixed. I think, just the primary school is fine. I mean, at that age, you get to be with everybody, so you also learn to interact with yourselves and to be free with yourselves. But at secondary school level, I agree with the all boys and all girls, not the mixed. And really, they both work, but because at that age, young people are transiting, right? And they're very adventurous. You want to protect both the males and the females. You want to protect them. So you would want for them to be free. If you see a young girl when she sees her experiences her first menstrual cycle, and you see some of the challenges that she goes through, you also want to believe that it will be right for her to go through all of that with a boy around. You want for her to have that private moment, and it will be easier to have older girls help her through that period, especially if the very first one happens in school and you are in the hostel. If it happens at home and you have your mom to attend to you, maybe it will be different.
Okay, you have been for a long time particular about youths. You are a youth advocate, you've been essay on youth affairs. Nowadays, serious challenges facing the youths. You graduate for years, no job, and all that. What, in your own opinion, do you think the federal government is not doing, or what do you think should be done to at least reduce, if not stop?
I heard recently that codeine was banned, which is not a bad thing, thank God. When you are at that level and then no one is paying attention because all your parents, both parents are busy at work trying to make ends meet, and these ends hardly meet, or they're at each other's neck fighting over what is not working and what is working. All the adults around you are too busy, and then you have a lot of adults, each one at something, and these kids are left to grow on their own. Now for an adolescent who is restless and adventurous, with no one attending, and looking at the kind of things that you and I see go on right now,
especially on TV,
what do you think that experimental character will do? He would want to experiment. And then you have that on this end, and then you have parents who are never there for you, adults who shush you. You hardly can even tell when you are right or wrong. You're most likely going to try knocking yourself out. And if you haven't been raised properly from 0 to that age, then you will break. But if you have been raised well from 0 to that age, what you're likely to do is, when everyone begins to do this, you're probably going to look for a book, or you're going to look for friends. Something must give. Unfortunately, this time around, because most of the people that they tag their idols, their mentors, their celebrity friends, when these pictures come on, the stories that they hear, what is presented before them makes it look like drug is the answer.
Make it look like it's okay to even do drugs. It's not even a sin or a crime.
From the moment young people began to feel that you don't need education to be a governor or a president or a senator, most of them lost interest in education. Now they know that you don't need to work extremely hard to become rich. Most of them have taken on being lazy.
Yahoo.
Yesterday I was sharing a joke with a friend and I said, do you know what? I have noticed that all the people who look really dirty and make looking dirty vogue are not the big stars. All the big stars look clean and they dress well and they hardly wear what they wear on stage on the streets. But these kids who want to be
like them,
the wannabes are the ones with all the scattered dirty hair and everything. So you see, there's a disconnect.
Okay, let's try this one again together.
Okay, let's go. Hi.
This country needs unity. We need peace.
I'm all for renegotiating the terms of our coexistence. We have to renegotiate it.
The youth have been misguided, unfortunately. You know?
I like my country. I like the land and people.
Hey, look, I have 40% shares in this company. But if I had known that you...
Judges are either corrupted or they are afraid of giving judgment.
There's no stopping us. No stopping.
But government requires more revenue to make sure that these initiatives...
Give us a better Nigeria! Give us a better...
Youth are the vehicles of change. The youth are the answer.
My name is Olamide Onifade. I am a real estate lawyer, and today I'm going to be giving you a tip about buying a property, and it's going to be centered on location, location, location. Buying a property is a massive commitment, and it's important that you consider some key factors to ensure you are getting your money's worth. Fundamental on your checklist should be the location of your property. It is the biggest influence on your quality of life, job opportunities, ease of travel, and the value of your property. While a good location might be influenced by your personal preferences and lifestyle, there are some objective qualities every good location should possess. First on the list should be accessibility when considering a good location. That is, how close is the property to good transport facilities, your daily commute to work, and your children's school if you have children who are of school age. Second on the list is the availability of local amenities. This includes a good local hospital, shops, grocery stores, electricity, and maybe internet services. And third should be the appearance of your neighborhood. You should watch out for the environmental conditions of the neighborhood. Sanitation and maintenance culture of the inhabitants is also very important. This will give you an insight to who your neighbors are going to be. It is important that the crime rate of the neighborhood is also thoroughly researched. Qualities of a bad location can be when there are too many houses on sale, closeness to busy highways, airports, and train tracks. It is also advisable that you avoid locations that lean towards industrial use, such as petrol stations, religious houses, and industrial plants. Remember that you can change your house, but you can't change your neighborhood.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging.
In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
On Plus TV News now. Appeal Court upholds Governor Abdullahi Sule's election. Tinubu appoints Desmond Akawo as RMAFC Federal Commissioner. Eco-friendly villa fit for British royalty. Good evening, I am Destiny Momo. This is News Update. The Court of Appeal in Abuja affirmed the victory of Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule, who had been declared winner of the election by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The court expunged evidence and exhibits from the tribunal, and Justice Uchechukwu Onemenam ruled that the statements of the witnesses were not front-loaded as per the Electoral Act 2022. And Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has visited the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, on Thursday to convey his gratitude for the recent favorable verdict from the Court of Appeal in Abuja. Sule, flanked by his predecessors, Senators Abdullahi Adamu and Umar Tanko Al-Makura, conveyed his gratitude for the appellate court's decision that overturned the election tribunal's earlier ruling, which had initially ousted him and declared PDP's David Ongbugado as the winner. Others who accompanied Governor Sule include the representative of Nasarawa State at the Federal Executive Council and Police Affairs Minister, Mrs. Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, Rep. Abubakar Hassan Nalaraba, and the Speaker of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, Ibrahim Abdullahi Balarabe. And the Court of Appeal in Abuja has affirmed the election of Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya after the Independent National Electoral Commission declared him winner with 342,821 votes. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, accused Yahaya of not being re-elected by a majority of lawful votes and alleged ballot stuffing to favor him. The PDP candidate and his party appealed the decision, but the court dismissed their appeal. And the Kano State government has rejected the appeal court's explanation that the error in the certified true copy of its judgment on the state's governorship election was a typographical mistake. The court initially declared APC's Nasiru Gawuna winner, but a CTC of the judgment surfaced on Wednesday indicating that the court had affirmed Yusuf's victory, contrary to the verdict. Haruna Dederi, the Kano State Commissioner for Justice, criticized the court's explanation. And meanwhile, the Labour Party governorship candidate for Imo, Ethan Atono, and scores of his supporters on Thursday stormed the national headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja to demand the true certified copy of the just concluded poll in the state. Atono, who was accompanied by the national youth leader Kennedy Ahanotu, also accused the electoral umpire of playing a double standard in the November 11 off-cycle election. The protest came 2 weeks after INEC declared Governor Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressive Congress winner of the election. The APC candidate polled 540,308 votes to beat Samuel Anyanwu of the People's Democratic Party, who scored 71,503 votes, and Achoni, who could only secure 64,081 votes. And Vice President Kashim Shettima is presiding over the National Economic Council meeting at the council chambers of the State House, Abuja. The council, which is comprised of the governors of the 36 states of the Federation, also has ministers in charge of the Federal Capital Territory and Finance, as well as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Group Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, and some others as members. And President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Ambassador Desmond Akawo as a Federal Commissioner of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, pending the confirmation of the Nigerian Senate. A statement by Ajuri Ngelale, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity on Thursday, noted that a new RMAFC Federal Commissioner who represents Rivers State has been appointed following the tragic demise of the immediate past commissioner from the state, Honorable Asondu Wena Temple, earlier this month. Akawo has served the nation as Nigeria's ambassador to South Korea, Minister of State of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and other engagements. And residents of Warri and environs in Delta State say the hardship and losses they have experienced over the years due to deplorable roads and poor drains will soon be over with the ongoing construction of critical roads and drainages across the oil city. Ruben Izeze, Commissioner for Works, Urban and Highways, who visited some of the ongoing projects, stated that the Governor Sharif Abarawari administration is committed to delivering long-term legacy projects for the people of the state. The Delta State government has emphasized that it will not compromise on the standard of works by any contractor. And the Kogi State government has ordered the freezing of all state and local government accounts with immediate effect. The statement signed by the Commissioner for Finance, Ashiwaju Asiru Idris, said no interest or any form of payment should be made to anyone from government accounts henceforth. According to the statement, all standing orders and investment instructions are hereby cancelled forthwith. And as part of measures to find durable solutions to humanitarian response in Nigeria, the federal government, United Nations agencies, development partners, and ambassadors have restated their commitment towards a coordinated approach and pledged to raise $5 billion annually for the nation's humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund. This was the outcome of the first humanitarian coordination meeting by Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betaradu, with other stakeholders in Abuja on their commitment to crisis in Nigeria. The meeting brought all the humanitarian responders in Nigeria under one roof, where they all committed to a durable, smart, and coordinated approach to humanitarian response. On his part, United Nations resident and humanitarian coordinator for Nigeria, Matthias Smell, who spoke on behalf of UN agencies, expressed absolute support to the government of Nigeria in its effort to tackle humanitarian challenges facing the country. Similarly, the ambassador of Malaysia, Norway, and United Arab Emirates, among other ambassadors, committed to supporting Nigeria in a more strategic way to address humanitarian crisis in Nigeria. And Oyo State government has reiterated its commitment to a responsible gaming policy in the state. The secretary to the state government, Professor Olanike Adeyemo, stated this during the 5th Annual Stakeholders Interactive Forum of the Oyo State Gaming Board. The theme of the forum, Tax and Task, Building a Sustainable Gaming Environment, is held in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Professor Olanike enjoined gaming companies to embrace transparent monetization in the world of gaming. The host of the event, Mr. Olajide Boladuro, Director General of the board, commended the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, for making Oyo State #1 investment destination in Nigeria. Boladuro enjoined gaming companies in the state to adhere to strict rules and standards designed to protect players in the gaming industry. Olajide notes that Oyo State will do all in its power to create an enabling environment for investment to flourish in the state.
What will enable us to build a sustainable and responsible gaming environment in Oyo State will be building stakeholders' capacity to take advantage of the industry's potential and manage the risks associated with gambling expansion. There's no absolute positive or absolute negative in life. So we have to be prepared to manage those risks. Improving reach and engagement through innovation and technology, responsible gambling policies that we enforce. We have fantastic policies on paper, but how do we do when it comes to implementation?
We will not relent as the government agency that we are, but as the government aspect of this vice, because it is a vice, and to preach the message to the people that gamble and do these gaming things, to let them know that it is actually addictive. So, I mean, the revenue is not the goal for us. It's just that we have to regulate the industry.
With the country losing over 1.29 trillion naira annually from crude oil theft, in addition to daily loss of 300,000 barrels of oil due to industrial scale theft, the House of Representatives has decried the dwindling state of the nation's economy as it wants the revenue-generating agency of the government against wastage. The Speaker, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, said this during the official inauguration of the House Special Committee on Oil Theft. He says the Special Committee on Crude Oil Theft losses remains another indication of the 10th House under his leadership to tackle one of the largest threats to Nigeria's economy.
Revenue-generating agencies must ensure transparency in the management of generated revenues. Let me state clearly that the House will not tolerate low performance by agencies or failure to show evidence of required remittances to the Federation accounts. We shall also closely monitor and undertake strict oversight of the activities of all revenue-generating agencies to ensure compliance. Dear honorable colleagues, we set up this special committee to underscore our unwavering commitment to protect the nation's resources for the good of all our citizens and to punish the perpetrators of these dreadful crimes. I charge you all to investigate all dimensions of oil theft, focusing on the actions of all actors, including criminal gangs, militia groups, the local populace, company employees, and security agencies.
Earlier, the chairman of the special committee, Honorable Al-Hassan Doguwa, said the country has not been able to reap the needed democracy dividend because of the huge losses recorded due to oil theft. The lawmaker stated the need to address oil theft in the country while emphasizing his committee's readiness to surmount all challenges in the industry in order to deliver on its mandate to Nigerians. Doguwa assured that all the problems associated with crude oil theft, such as vandalism amongst others, will be addressed headlong.
The issues of oil theft and pipeline vandalizations are not new to us, nor are they exclusive to Nigeria as a nation. However, they remain a persistent threat to our economy, environment, and national security. The urgency of addressing these challenges and bolstering our regulations, technology, and security measures can therefore not be overstated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, oil theft is large-scale illegal business estimated to be worth $133 billion per year globally, which makes it the world's biggest theft of a natural resource and is also considered to be the #1 most smuggled natural resources globally.
The House of Representatives Committee on National Planning and Economic Development says it will be embarking on intergovernmental and budget reforms interlinked with sustainable development with a coordinated approach to reverse the nation's declining economy and enhancing national development. This pledge was made by the Chairman, House Committee on National Planning and Economic Planning at the inaugural meeting of the committee at the National Assembly Complex in Abuja on Wednesday. He assured that he is fully committed and willing to deploy his time and resources towards attainment of the committee's vision in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope mantra.
To enable us to succeed in this assignment, we need to strive and strive, tame the elements, subdue circumstances, be flexible and adaptable to the 10th Assembly legislative agenda, recognized and respected on the discharge of our duties. I humbly, therefore, request for your support and guidance, which will be critical in bringing about the positive renewed hope mantras.
We may have different interpretations of what is happening to our country and to our economy, but the facts of the matter are visible for all of us to see. We are currently in one of the worst economic crises that has ever faced this country. And therefore, I think it is important and honest the two committees to sit down, engage with the executive arm of government so that we can be able to think through the basic issues that are central to the workings of this economy and the challenges that we are facing and the way forward.
The federal government has resolved controversies surrounding the location of a new Federal College of Education in Ekiti State. The Minister of Education, represented by the Director of the college, Dr. Uchenna Uba, confirmed that Ilawe Ekiti is the actual location approved by the federal government. The monarch of the town, Ajibade Alabi, assured that the community will take direct ownership of the institution, ensuring its protection and providing an enabling environment for staff and students. And the Kaduna State government has described National Youth Service Corps skills acquisition and entrepreneurship development side programs as veritable tools for economic improvement and sustainability of Corps members during and after the service year. Governor Obasani stated these at the closing ceremony of 2023 Batch C Stream 1 orientation course of Corps members deployed to the state. The state governor, who was represented by the Commissioner for Human Services and Social Development, Hajia Rabi Salisu, said the government will continue to support NYSC's scheme to achieve economic objectives while ensuring provision of a conducive environment for Corps members to discharge the primary responsibilities.
And they have undergone several trainings on different types of skills. We urge them all to take these skills not only during their NYSC period, that is 1 year period, but also to take it as part of their life, day-to-day activities. Due to the economic situation we are in the country, in any developed country, people that go into skills are the ones that are developed, especially if you can set example of China. You see people that they are graduate, but they don't depend on government work. So I urge them all to see these skills not just as a temporary something, but it is something that they can improve their lives and the life of the community they have been posted to. And even going back to their various states, they can teach other young adolescent girls and boys that are coming up just like them. So I want them to have at the back of their mind that Kaduna State is just a starting point to their progress.
He urged employers in both public and private sectors to accept all the core members posted to them and ensure their well-being. The NYSC State Coordinator Hassan Toro advised core members to respect the culture and tradition of their host communities.
I was opportune to go into agro-allied, most especially fish farming and rest of it. And I know it's going to be beneficial to the country. And I believe of a truth, I'm going to practice it since it's not something that is time consuming. Even while I'm still serving, I can still be going to my place of assignment towards evening or night. I can still be practicing my fish farming. And I believe it's going to also help me.
I learned tie and dye, which is called adire, and I've always wanted to learn the skills. So coming here, I've learned the introduction part of the adire, and maybe from here I will start up my own adire brand and start producing adire to sell and make some cash for myself.
In commemoration of the 2023 World Television Day, journalists have been charged to kick out the dissemination of fake news and incorporate fast-checking in their news reportage. The celebration-themed television, a strategic tool for conflict management and nation-building, and sub-theme Media Space for Information Access in Nigeria, was organized by the Consolidated Chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Ogun State Council. Segun Olukoja, chairman of the Consolidated Chapel, while speaking at a celebration held in Iwe-Iroyin, Abeokuta, said the media will continue to be a strategic tool for shaping the world and bridging the gaps among diverse communities. He noted that the media are responsible for championing development in the society and support the government. Also, the chairman, Ogun NUJ Council, Comrade Wale Olariwaju, disclosed that the media has the power to inform and inspire the people through television and other media. In her keynote speech, Tong Okewale Sonaya, CEO, 91.7 WFM radio, represented by Esther Alaribe, the program's manager, asserted that the media must continue to be objective, open and responsible in delivering accurate and trustworthy information in spite of the difficulties that confront it.
It is a reminder of the importance of responsible broadcasting, promoting quality content, and lesson programming for positive social change. Television will continue to be a strategic tool to shaping our world and bridging gaps amongst diverse communities. Champion the voice of the people and promote adequate information on government policies, programs, and projects. We celebrate the profound impact of media in providing access to information in Nigeria. Through television and other media platforms, we have the power to connect, inform, and inspire. In a country as diverse as Nigeria, media space plays a pivotal role in ensuring that information reaches every corner of our society.
We know the vital role that the media plays in nation building and nation development. With the advancement of technology, the media space has expanded, allowing for greater access to information, which has led to increased awareness, education, and empowerment amongst Nigerians. However, it is important to note that there are challenges which we must ensure that the media remains unbiased, transparent, and accountable in providing accurate information.
Magodo residents appeal to Sanwo-Olu to stop planned link road construction in January Phase 2, and they have appealed to the Lagos State government to halt plans on the construction of link roads to the wetlands through the estate. They urged government to rather construct a road from the Otedola underpass. Addressing a press conference in Lagos, Chairman Magodo Residents Association, Engineer Sheriff Daramola, said the invasion of the estate poses threats to their safety and security. Engineer Daramola said if the government insists on developing the wetlands, it should not access it through Magodo Jarrow Phase 2.
We have the power
Different
to
activities
inform
have
and
opened up
inspire.
the estate to the wetlands.
In a country as diverse
and
as Nigeria,
consequently exposed IFA to secure community to serious vandalization of vehicles, theft, and other criminal activities. To force access to the wetland through Magodo Phase 2 in the proposed urban development scheme will have consequences for the existing of Magodo Phase 2 and our residents. Plans are meant to enhance sustainability living and not to destroy.
Sanwo-Olu for his efforts to uphold standards and his initiatives for a greater, better and safer Lagos, while commending the Commissioner for Environment, Dr. Tokunbo Wahab, for his visit to Magodo Phase 2.
Where he insists on developing the wetlands, do not access it through Magodo Phase 2, and to please not to do anything that would be detrimental to the safety, security, and quality of life of Magodo Phase 2 residents. We commend Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for his unwavering support and commitment to his promises not to allow access to the wetland from Magodo Phase 2 in an earlier tripartite meetings, and his support to ensure a continuous peace in our Magodo Phase 2 community and Lagos State as a whole.
Of all waters within this environment, it goes along that path, right through to our unity, right through to join the lagoons, the series of lagoons. So when they release water at the various points, it comes in onto that to also absorb it. So going to develop that, you're already destroying an environment and you're also causing trouble. Because those who have attempted to build properties there, they had a sheer failure.
Another thing is to look at the fact that is it really normal for that wetlands to be developed? We all know Nigerians. Nigerians we travel all over the world, and our government officials simply travels. You can hardly see green. I want to believe that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is a governor who is listening here. I've known him and I will follow him for a very long time before he became governor. And I want to believe that he will not allow this thing to happen.
That area is very vast. Lots of plots of land, I think about 1,000 to 2,000 plots there. And if they pass through Magodo, they use Magodo as their entrance into the wetlands, it's going to spoil the whole of Magodo estate.
And the House of Representatives has bemoaned decay in the Nigerian primary healthcare system, stating that it's not where it is supposed to be despite successive government intervention in the sector. Speaker, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, represented by Honorable Adesua Osawaru, a member representing Orionwan Federal Constituency in Edo State, made these observations at a retreat in Abuja for members of the House of Representatives Committee on Nigeria Primary Health in Abuja, vowing to right the wrong in the health system through effective legislations as enshrined in the 2014 National Health Act. He says the 10th House will build a strong partnership with development partners as well as effective legislation to improve Nigeria's primary health care. And Honorable Dennis Idahosa, who is the chairman, House Committee on Healthcare Services, stated that despite the undeniable importance of primary health care, its challenges are numerous. And the Director General, National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, Dr. Kelechi Ohiri, reiterated the mission of the NHIA in ensuring financial access to quality health care for all Nigerians. And it is imperative that stakeholders recognize the critical role played by both the legislative arm and health agencies. The Chairman, House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee, Honorable Bamidele Salam, has called on the federal government to prioritize education and security in school. He said this during the National Children Leadership Conference to mark the 2023 Universal Children Day in Abuja on Monday. The Chairman, House Committee on Public Accounts, Honorable Bamidele Salam, tasked the federal government to ensure all children of school age have access to education to take care of the growing number of out-of-school children in the country.
They have had 6 plenary sessions from Friday when they arrived in camp, and they have discussed all these issues, and they have come to a realization that their own voice can be louder than what it is today. And when they add their voice to an advocacy, I want to tell you that government will listen, the civil society will listen, community leaders will listen. And so children are asking that a minimum of 15% of our national budget should be committed to education, and that government should be more proactive in tackling issues of out-of-school children, issues of insecurity in schools, issues of the girl child education, and ensure that we do not just mouth these things, we don't just make them slogans, but we make them actionable plans and we follow through with the action. And these children, I assure you, will go back to their various schools and communities to become advocates for these same things that they are asking government to do.
Mandate the Federal Ministry of Education to urgently liaise with their sister ministries and other relevant agencies under them to devote at least 15% of their annual budget to the welfare, education, and protection of rights and privileges of children in Nigeria. We also urge the federal government of Nigeria to establish a Ministry of Children Development in both federal, state, and local government levels, and be empowered to carry out an agenda. Honorable House.
The wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives received an award of excellence as child rights advocate, which was presented by the convener, Honorable Bamidele Salam. And the Chairman, House Committee on Persons with Disability, Honorable Bashiru Dawodu, has pledged commitment to ensuring full implementation of the Persons with Disabilities Act. Dawodu made the pledge at a meeting on children with disabilities and Disability Act 2018, with the theme of the meeting titled Every Child, Every Right. Honorable Dawodu observes that there are still issues of discrimination against persons with disabilities, and plans are ongoing to reenact the law with stiffer penalties. He acknowledged that there is a huge lacuna in the PWD Act that amendments alone cannot address.
This is also going to go at some point to public hearing, where you can bring all these issues on the floor. So the process has already started in terms of the think that the gaps or lacuna are so huge that it's not even amendable. I think it's going to have to be reignited, which is actually the bill that's in the House right now. My brother here, Honorable Wigan, also has an amendment that's going through the House about sign language. And on the issue of sign language, the speaker, your speaker here, our great progressive speaker here, has approved the use of sign language in the chamber. Very soon, and that's a legacy. That's not something that has happened in this chamber before, since its inception. It has only happened during the speakership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD. So that is, I would like you to know.
While stating that the committee will continue to hold stakeholders meetings with representatives of PWDs, he assured that the Speaker Tajuddin Abbas has approved the use of sign languages at the chamber during plenary sitting.
Members of the Assembly are your servants. They're not your guys like some people will think sometimes. So I'm really, really glad that you also express your mind should have more of the clusters, the larger community, where you will tell us what you would like us to do for the next 4 years. No doubt about that. That is going to take place. Now, in terms of the concerns that you have raised there today, yes, we have also been thinking a lot about it. So yes, the Child Act needs to be amended. But it is letting you have to know that there's already an amendment or a re-amendment for the Disability Act.
Earlier, the Persons with Disability Community in Abuja urged the National Assembly to amend relevant laws to protect children with disabilities in the country. Ms. Constance Onyemechi, Executive Director, Women and Girls with Albinism Network.
Awareness. Our teachers should be educated on special children. They have the right to learn. They have the right to go to school. They have the right to relate with other children. Parents don't allow them to play with their children because they don't know much about them. I look at them, they call them names, they call them all sorts of things. So my daughter, I have to remove her after 3 years in the private school. A friend, I was just one day cooking, I was just going through my phone. I said, let me look for school, special school. Somebody advised me to take her to a special school. And I wrote her, in that school, she could not write anything after 3 years. She cannot read, she cannot even do anything.
Now let me start with health. For a person with albinism, we are very prone to skin cancer, and it leads to continuous exposure to the sun. Over time, we begin to have moles, warts, and then, if not checked correctly, it becomes skin cancer. And we know that the health facilities cannot really attend to our needs because chemotherapy is expensive, and at the end, persons with albinism die. And when that person dies, it simply means the person cannot achieve what he or she has been brought into this world to achieve.
Giving us a preamble into why we are here, you mentioned some cardinal issues that, I think you should be able to put alongside with the National Child Act and the National Disability Act. In between those acts, there is a lacuna, there is a lapses. And I think the House Committee should be able to, if possible, expand this social, gathering or what have you, so that we'll be able now to marry the National Child Act and the National Disability Act. Because we look at the National Disability Act 2018, does not take care of some of the issues that have to do with a child living with disability in Nigeria. For instance, you make mention of education. We talk about inclusive education in Nigeria. It's a mere theoretical jargon, if I may say so.
Still ahead, eco-friendly villa fit for British royalty. Details when we return. Stay with us.
My name is Adejoke Lasisi. I'm the founder and creative director of Planet 3R. At Planet 3R, we convert textile and plastic waste into eco-friendly products. The motivation actually came from a rural community in Ibadan here. Whenever it rains, the whole place, people will not be able to go inside the community. If it rains overnight, people will not be able to go to school, they will not be able to go to work. Anytime the water now goes away, you now realize a lot of waste spin. And I was like, this is actually the root cause of this problem, improper waste management system. Then I look at it that, what can we do to solve this problem? And that was how I started using the weaving skill that I've acquired from my mom since I was 9 years old. Then I started using it to weave those waste to now make sure that we now convert them into beautiful items like bags, shoes, even clothing. I actually participated at Womenpreneur Season 3, that was 2021. One of the things I really gained at that time was business development. It's not just about the talent now or having to know how to convert the waste or having the idea, but to be able to put it into a successful business. I really appreciate what Access Bank is doing for entrepreneurs. Let us now say women now, because most of the time women don't really have much of these advantages. I love the fact that there's an initiative for women. I want to encourage you to make sure that you go and apply honestly. Your life will not remain the same again.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 when they pay.
Welcome back, and I'm moving on to other parts of Africa. British King Charles III and Queen Camilla stayed in an eco-friendly villa in Kenya's coastal county of Kilifi. The 5-bedroom, fully ensuite villa, built in 2016 by Dutch designer Edwin Overkamp, was equipped with solar power, providing the royals with a solar-powered infinity pool. The villa, located in the exclusive Fipingo Ridge, offers 750 square meters of lush greenland and is only a half-hour drive from Mombasa. Surrounded by the towering trees and a balcony, the villa was chosen for security, privacy, and nature.
I think they chose the location because of security, privacy, the nature. I think it's on a certain level that we can actually host the royals here, and we've got all facilities at this house. We've got fantastic master bedroom upstairs, which is fully bulletproof. I was privileged enough to meet the King and the Queen, their Majesties, and he pointed out that he loved the architecture, he loved the old and the new combined. The Queen mentioned it as well, that she had a fantastic stay. Yeah, I think they were very, very happy, and they had like less than 24 hours, but they enjoyed themselves very, very much.
The International Rescue Committee, IRC, has warned that severe flooding in East Africa has intensified an already dire humanitarian situation, leaving millions of people in need of assistance. Shashwat Sharaf, East Africa Emergency Director at IRC, sheds light on the escalating crisis and its devastating impact on vulnerable communities. Even before the floods, approximately 15 million people in East Africa were grappling with food insecurity. Somalia, Ethiopia, and Kenya had recently experienced an extended period of drought marked by 5 failed rains, displacing millions and exacerbating food shortages. The recent floods have added to the region's woes, affecting an additional 3.1 million people, with Somalia bearing a significant brunt. Shashwat Sharaf emphasizes that Somalia, Ethiopia, and Kenya have faced extensive flooding, with Somalia alone witnessing 1.7 million people directly impacted. And from news outside Africa, Israel and Hamas have announced a deal for a 4-day truce, allowing the exchange of at least 50 Israeli hostages for 150 Palestinian prisoners. The deal, facilitated by Qatar, Egypt, and the USA, could be enforced starting Friday. It also aims to provide food, medicines, and fuel to the 2.4 million civilians trapped in Gaza. A second phase could see 150 more Palestinian prisoners freed in exchange for another 50 hostages during an extended truce. The deal is aimed at alleviating the suffering of Palestinians in the West Bank. And Gaza's health ministry has stopped coordinating with the World Health Organization for evacuating wounded and medical staff from hospitals after Israel arrested the director of Al-Shifa Hospital. Israeli officials have stated that no Gaza captives will be released before Friday as part of a Qatar-mediated truce agreement. Families of Israeli captives are frustrated and blame the government for lack of information. Israel continues to carry out deadly air attacks and heavy shelling. And in business news, President Bola Tinubu has approved the sale of more oil and gas fields abandoned by the international oil companies, IOCs. The president has given the green light for conduct of fresh marginal field bids for the gas fields, which have been lying fallow for over a decade. And this was disclosed by the Minister of State for Petroleum, Senator Heineken Lokpobiri, during a facility tour of Walter Smith Petroman Oil Limited's modular refinery in Ibigwe, Ohaji, Egbema local government area of Imo State on Wednesday. The minister said the bid exercise will commence soon, and a new bid round is coming barely 3 years after about 57 marginal oil fields were put up for sale in 2020, and the process effectively concluded last year amid many of the awardees still struggling to move to site for development of their assets, due largely to funding and regulatory challenges. And the Lagos State commercial hub of Nigeria is losing 4 trillion naira yearly to traffic congestion. A recent study by Den Institute for Research disclosed this on Wednesday. The study, titled Behavioral Causes of Traffic Congestion in Lagos, funded by the Bank of Industry and Africa Finance Corporation, stressed the need for immediate action to alleviate the economic and social toll on the residents. According to the Executive Director of the Dan Institute for Research, Franca Ovaje, the staggering loss could otherwise be directed towards two vital sectors such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure development. The report identifies behavioral factors as the primary culprits, including poor road infrastructure, violation of traffic laws, activities of agberos at bus stops, and buses picking up passengers. And coming up next is entertainment news.
Picture this. You're sitting at a table, ready to indulge in a mouth-watering meal. Stop. For many of us, it is hard to resist the temptation, especially when it comes to enjoying a juicy beef dish. But have you ever stopped to think about the impact of your food choices on the greater good? Our food choices have a great impact on others. The beef industry is one of the leading contributors to deforestation. As trees are cleared to make way for cattle ranching, it not only disrupts the delicate balance of ecosystems, but also contributes to climate change. We can make a difference with our choices. It does not mean we all have to become vegans overnight. Imagine enjoying fish and poultry a few times a week, indulging in beef just once a month, and filling our plates with plenty of plant-based goodness. Every little bit counts, and even small reductions in our intake can make a huge impact on the climate. By making smarter food choices, we're not only taking care of ourselves, but also the planet we call home. Remember, the choices we make today lead to a better tomorrow.
The Origin Madam Koi Koi maintains its spot at the top as Nigeria's most watched show on Netflix. In a post on Twitter, J. Franklin Gitubo, the director, thanked the cast and crew as he revealed that the project has maintained the top spot for 3 weeks consecutively. Co-produced by Gitubo and Michael W., the cast includes Ireti Doyle, who plays the school administrator, Chioma Okpota as a Catholic nun, Chukwuka Jude, Chuks Joseph, Kelvin T. Solomon, among others. The first part premiered on October 31, 2023, followed by the second part on November 7, 2023. The Origin joins the likes of The Black Book, Ijogbon, and Jagun Jagun, which have all topped the Netflix chart this year. Jamie Foxx was sued on Wednesday for allegedly sexualizing, assaulting a woman at a rooftop bar in New York in 2015. The woman, identified in the suit as Jane Doe, alleges that Foxx took her to a secluded corner of the Catch NYC rooftop lounge, rubbed her breast, and grabbed her under her pants against her will. The suit alleges that a security guard witnessed the incident but did not intervene. The woman's friend then came and found her, and Foxx stopped touching her and walked away. The lawsuit alleges that the woman was sore and had to seek medical treatment as a result of the assault. In the suit, the woman seeks compensation for pain, suffering, emotional distress, anxiety, and humiliation. The lawsuit also names Brimbang and Catch NYC as defendants, alleging that they enabled the assault and failed to adequately supervise their employees. Hollywood actor Cuba Gooding Jr. was sued on Wednesday by 2 women whose sexual assault cases against him underlay a criminal prosecution that ended with him pleading guilty but serving no jail term. In a complaint filed in a New York State court in Manhattan, Jasmine Abbey said the Oscar-winning actor forcibly kissed her without her consent in September 2018 while she was working as a cocktail waitress at the LAVO nightclub in Midtown Manhattan. The other plaintiff accused Gooding of grappling her breast in June 2019 at the Magic Hour rooftop bar, also in Midtown. Abbey and Herbert are seeking unspecified damages for assault under the Adult Survivors Act, a special New York State law letting women sue their alleged abusers even if statutes of limitations have run out. The law expires after the U.S. Thanksgiving Day holiday. Back in June, Goody settled a civil lawsuit in Manhattan Federal Court moments before trial by a woman who accused him of a 2013 rape. Terms were not disclosed. The woman had sought $6 million.
And now in sports news, the highly anticipated finals of the Nigerian Bankers Games concluded over the weekend, bringing to a close another thrilling season of sporting excellence. The competition, which saw participation from various banks across the country, witnessed a display of exceptional athleticism, camaraderie, and sportsmanship. The games, which spanned 5 weeks, saw bankers from across the country showcase their athletics prowess and sporting spirit. According to the organizer of the event is to balance between work and healthier lifestyle in sports.
For us, bankers This game has been going stronger and stronger. Excited. Finals now. Just playing behind me there between Wimbledon and First Bank. So they're going to have a winner. But for us, it's just exciting to see that we get stronger bankers are bonding, knowing themselves, building relationships, and it's exciting. This is a world where you have to balance between work, and having fun.
Nottingham Forest forward Taiwo Awoniyi has had groin surgery that will rule him out of action for months. Awoniyi aggravated a groin injury while playing for Nigeria during this month's international break. The 26-year-old signed from Union Berlin for a then-club record fee of £17 million in 2022. He scored 15 goals in 39 games in all competitions for Forest in the last 2 seasons. Meanwhile, Ekiti State boxer has lamented the lack of boxing facilities in the state and appealed to Ekiti State Governor to come to their aid. The boxer made this appeal at this month's Ekiti Boxing Championship, where they called on the government for urgent attention over the dilapidated boxing ring, which has been abandoned and lacks training kit needs. In his speech, the sports philanthropist and enthusiast Israel Adeshoko said boxing stakeholders should come together to promote boxing in the state. He said the newly introduced monthly boxing showdown was in partnership with the enviable and remarkable passion and vision of the state governor Biodun Oyebanji towards sports.
We boxers here, we know the things. Number one, our training arena, we don't have a good place to train. Number two, our ring, we don't have a ring, but boxers need a ring purposely, because if we don't master the ring at home, to go to outside to fight will be difficult for us. We need the ring. And
equipment, unavailable training equipment, and some other things, lack of amenities that we need as a boxer personally. We're talking about boxing bag, pad, glove, then training kits generally. That's a very challenges mostly we are facing.
I know the governor have an agenda for indoor sports, and in fact in general all sports in the state, and he has promised to do a lot of things that I can't mention, but the little we can do will only complement whatever the government is.
And the main news again. Appeal Court upholds Governor Abdullahi Sule's election. Tinubu places Desmond Akawo as RMAFC Federal Commissioner. Eco-friendly villa fit for British royalty. And that's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. I am Destiny Momo. Many thanks for watching.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
If you come out here and you build something of great value, you can make it. That's what's amazing about Silicon Valley, and that's why you see everyone flocking towards Silicon Valley.
It's really that place where there's this groundswell of smart people dedicated to using technology to solve very difficult problems.
I was like, oh my God, people just think of these things and it just happens, and how can I build something? I just want to build something from scratch.
We come here ready to make something of ourselves. So when an African leaves Africa and comes here, we're coming here to do battle.
Hi, my name is E, and I am Managing Director and Co-founder of Flutterwave. And Flutterwave is one API for payments across Africa.
Hi, my name is Jonas Beshouted, CEO and founder of Stackshare. Stackshare is the best place for engineers and developers to discover and compare software tools.
Hi, my name is Bukola. I consider myself a connector. I build platforms to reach African audiences back home, as well as here in the US, to tap into their common interest. This is exactly what I've done with Jandus.
Mall for Africa is an online platform that enables US and UK retailers easily sell into Africa without any hassles or worries. We also help people in Africa purchase items from UK and US retailers without any stress.